Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Say Mother Nature couldn't keep this one from being played just yet. A cloudy, overcast day here at Bob Wren in Athens, Ohio, but still baseball to be played between the VMI Keydets and the Ohio Bobcats here on YouTube. We are live from Bob Wren Stadium in Athens, Ohio. My name's Gavin Carey. Joined alongside me, my broadcast partner, the go-to man, Josh Herner. Josh, these two schools so far are having a completely different year. Ohio, the home team, 8-23, 4-11 within the MAC, way below 500. But you can compare that to VMI, way above 500, 21-13, but 4-5 in the SoCon. Maybe not the most desired conference record, but they're still in there and they're having a great year so far.
Yeah, Gavin, this is a VMI offense that is tops in the nation in a lot of statistical categories. You and I were talking about it before the game, just how good this VMI offense is. They lead the nation in stolen bases by 60. They have 172 on the season thus far. They're seventh in batting average, hitting 326. They're up there with the SEC schools, the Kentuckys, the Ole Misses, the Alabamas, and the Georgias in the nation. They're also first in the country in walks with 254, first in runs with 369, and first in on-base percentage at 477. Gavin, this is a tough offense to stop, and they've got plenty of hitters who do some damage in their lineup. And for Ohio, again, you talked about the 8-23 record, but I don't think that tells the whole story of this team because there have been some standout players. Ben Slanker has been one of the best hitters, and Matt Einich both have been two of the best hitters in the conference this year. Slanker tied for ninth in the country in home runs. So again, there are some guys who can beat you in this Ohio lineup, and it's just all about who's going to be the more consistent team this weekend.
Yeah, and so that's going to be the big key, right? Is that this is game one of a 3-game series between the Keydets and the Bobcats. This is game one, game two tomorrow, game three on Sunday. It's going to be a big series for both teams. For Ohio, this is their last non-conference series. They'll still have some midweek games against non-conference teams, but this is their last weekend series against a non-conference team, and then it's all MAC from there. That's something too. Again, they're maybe not the best, 4-11 within the MAC, but there's certainly time to still get back into those MAC standings.
Yeah, Gavin, I mean, like we hit on it just a little bit ago, consistency. They're starting to find consistent contributions from guys, especially in that bullpen. We've seen the pitching lack a little bit at times this year. They've been getting key contributions from Ethan Stewart. Starting-wise, Dylan Masters has had a solid year continuing on from last season, and Hudson Bonkel has been huge for Ohio this season, 5.08 ERA. So again, it's just getting a little bit of that consistency because we have seen this offense at time go for, double-digit runs, and Ben Slanker has gone for 2 home runs, and Matt Einich has had big games, and they've gotten contributions from guys like Paulie Mancino and Trenton Newer in the outfield. But again, it's just putting all those contributions together for a 3-game series because, like you said, this is an important 3-game series, not necessarily from the record perspective, but going into the rest of the season because it's kind of that middle of the season series.
Yeah, so you touched on it right there, just the confidence and the consistency. Well, that's VMI personified right now. And like you said, their offense, they have been absolutely lights out, fantastic so far this season. Like you said, they are leading the nation not only in team overall stats, but individual guys too are either ranked top in the country or they're mixed in there. I mean, you look at guys like Brady Garner. He's tied 14th in the nation in on-base percentage. Cole Riley leads the nation in runs. Owen Prince, 5th in the nation in runs. Boston Torres tied 6th in the nation in runs. This is an offense that knows how to get guys in, and they know how to hit the baseball too.
Yeah, Gavin, this is just a tough pitching matchup for any team. You know, this Ohio staff is going to have their hands full this weekend, not only just at the plate, but when guys get on base, too. You have to hold runners. You know, for a team that steals 172, that has stolen, 172 bases on the year, you're going to see multiple pickoff attempts today. You're going to see some throwouts. Ohio has to do some things to keep the Keydets off their rhythm, because other than if they don't do that, the Keydets are going to steal all over them.
Yeah, and say this is a team that they know how to steal bases, like we talked about, individually and as a team. They have guys top of the nation in terms of stolen bases. Like you said, we'll see pickoffs. It's just the question is, can they limit VMI's stealing? Because again, 90 feet closer, that's what college baseball is nowadays. I remember when we talked with Bowling Green's head coach a couple weeks ago when Bowling Green and Ohio played. You know, he talked about just how much the 90 feet in college baseball plays such a big factor, and he's 100% right.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we talked to Coach Sam, or Manager Sam Roberts, for VMI this week, and we asked him, you know, what's one thing you've liked about your team so far? He said he's loved their base aggressiveness. Last season's team led the nation in stolen bases. There was a lot of change from last year going into this year, and this year's team kept that same attitude. It's like it's a part of their identity. It's a part of what they do, is be aggressive on the bases, and that's how they play. You're going to see a little bit of small ball from that team. So, again, we'll see if the Keydets can continue that in today's Game 1.
We absolutely will be. Game 1 between the Keydets and the Bobcats. Keep it right here on YouTube. We'll go ahead and step aside, take a quick break until the anthem is done. And when we come back, lineups and first pitch here in just a few minutes. And we welcome you back inside Bob Wren Stadium here in Athens, Ohio. Our sideline reporter Kylie Osko is now with us. Kylie, let's go ahead and talk about this pitching matchup.
Yes. So starting with VMI, Evan Palmer, he's going to be their starting pitcher. He is originally from Tampa, Florida. He attended Berkeley Preparatory School, where he earned 2 varsity letters and was named a perfect game preseason All-American. At VMI, Palmer has steadily contributed from the mound, making notable appearances in both 2023 and 2024 seasons. In 2025, he had stand-up performances, including an 11 strikeout relief against Stonehill and a 6 strikeout appearance versus UNC Greensboro. And then moving from VMI to Ohio, the starting pitcher, Blake Gasky, is a right-handed starting pitcher for the Ohio Bobcats. He is known for his consistency, and he's a workhorse on the mound. In the 2024 season, he led the team in innings pitched across 14 starts, tallying 57 strikeouts, tying for the team lead despite a 2.7 record and a 6.16 ERA. Notable outings included a dominant 7-inning performance against Toledo with 9 strikeouts and a 1-run, 5-inning start versus UIC. In 2025, Gasky remained a key figure in the rotation, delivering 6 shutout innings against West Georgia early in the season. His reliability and ability to handle deep outings have made him a valuable asset in Ohio's pitching staff.
Kylie, thank you so much for that report. Like you just said, Blake Gasky will be the guy on the bump to get the start for the Bobcats here tonight under the lights at Bob Wren. Such a fantastic stadium to see under the lights. Josh, you and I, we know a thing or two about being here at Bob Wren.
I think so, Gavin. You know, one thing that you notice from sitting here as well is not just Bob Wren under the lights, but the backdrop as well. And being from Pittsburgh, I think I got to see the prettiest backdrop in all of the major leagues. And I think this is one of the prettiest backdrops in all of college baseball as well. So I'm a big backdrop guy as well with under the lights.
Say it really makes everything pop, and we'll see that tonight as the sun goes down. You can't see it now. Very overcasted day here in Athens. And welcome back to Athens, Ohio. 1-2-3 went to Keydets in the top half of the first inning. Now it's the Bobcats' turn, but they face Evan Palmer, who is on the bump for the Keydets today.
Yeah, Gavin, Palmer, 2-3 record, 7.76 ERA on the year, 29 innings pitched, 34 strikeouts, 16 walks, 11 appearances so far. Struggled in his last outing against Mercer, so again, we'll see if he can use that fastball, slider, changeup mix that he has and get some outs today for VMI.
Say a little equipment switch so far, so still waiting on that first pitch from Farmer.
Pretty good pitching outing last time out for VMI. Only used 2 guys in the 9-inning win against Radford. Good start from Roberto Velazquez, I believe, is how you pronounce it. Just checking to make sure I did that right. And Marcus Van Alstyne, again, 2 good, got some innings for both of those guys. You know, Velazquez went 5, only gave up 2. Van Alstyne went 4, only gave up 3. So again, VMI has a pretty rested bullpen in this game as well. That's something that could be a major factor in the later innings.
Say 2-0 now to Matt Einich. Palmer, just from those first 2 pitches, Josh, something that I noticed from Evan Palmer, he's got that velocity. I heard that mitt pop on that first pitch, and I was like, ooh, he's got that fastball. It's going to be working a lot today.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to intermix that with that slider. You know, if he can get that fastball, especially away to lefties, watch him to come inside with the slider, kind of front door, back door action.
So there was that get me over fastball. Just to get back into the count now, make it 3-1 to Einich. Einich is one of the best hitters on this Bobcats lineup. 407 batting average. He's been fantastic all season long. He didn't like that one, though. That there was that slider away to that left-handed batter, like you talked about, Josh, going east and west with that slider. That time he located it beautifully on the outside corner.
Mm-hmm.
And here's that full count now. Swings and fouls it off right back to us. We'll do the full count over again.
Notice how he went with the slider away and then the fastball right in that same location. Good pitch mix there from Parmer.
And I said that's going to be very key for him to do that all game long, too.
Especially for these two guys at the top of the lineup that could do so much damage in Einich and Slanker.
Out to center field. That one's going to get down for a base hit. Einich was looking to go and trying to stretch it to 2, but Prince couldn't get there in center field. And just like that, one batter, one hit for the Bobcats.
No stranger to Matt Einich getting on base to start an inning, huh, Gavin?
Nope, not at all. He's been doing that all season long, and certainly doesn't stop here.
8 stolen bases for him as well on the year. We'll see if Ohio can maybe get some guys moving.
So we talked about the offensive efficiency that we've seen from VMI. Well, again, Ohio, they've got guys that can do that too. And one of them right now, Ben Slanker, up at the dish. He's a guy that's no stranger to, number 1, getting RBIs, number 2, hitting that long ball.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of a lineup change, too. Usually we'll see Slanker hitting the cleanup spot, moving up to second today. I like the adjustment for Ohio. Get your 2 best guys, your 2 most at-bats.
And say part of that switch, too, is that there's no J.R. Nelson in the lineup as well for the Bobcats. He's defensively one of the best players in the entire. Big take of that one. Got a little piece of it, though. Ben Slanker did, so 2-1.
Something I love about Slanker, Gavin, is he uses a lot of science behind baseball. He's a lot of launch angle and uses a lot of those different things, and it's really shown this year.
Say a bit of a cool night for baseball, but the fans at
Turn it gold night, and
it is. Bark in the park as well as that one's popped out into left field. Torres under it and makes the grab for out number 1. Say Bark in the park is all weekend, Josh. Tonight turning gold, like you mentioned, a great weekend here in Athens.
Absolutely. Softball and baseball both home this weekend.
Absolutely.
Softball doubleheader tomorrow. Baseball game 2 tomorrow. Game 3 on Sunday. Be an eventful weekend at the 2 Diamonds.
Absolutely, and they're not very far apart down the right field line. Is the softball field only a little bit away? Ohio softball did defeat the Toledo Rockets just a couple hours ago. What a season that they're having, Josh.
Absolutely. The preseason favorites have, without a doubt, gotten off to a good start to their MAC play so far.
A pickoff attempt, but no doing. We do expect to see quite a few pickoff moves today, Josh, probably from both pitchers.
Yeah, absolutely. Small ball. Could see some small ball from both offenses as well, so keep an eye on that.
And here's Paulie Mancino, swings at that one, fouls it off behind the dish, 0-2. Mancino, that he's the guy that beginning of the year didn't probably start the way he would have liked, but now as we get more into midseason and conference play, Josh, he's a guy that's really heating up.
Yeah, Gavin, he's hitting 303 on the year thus far, and he's been one of the guys to step up for Ohio. You know, so much attention goes to Einich and Slanker, but Mancino, Trey Cassidy, and Trenton Newer have all been guys that stepped up outside of those 2.
And here's the 1-2 to Mancino. There's that slider down and away. Makes the count evened up now, 2-2. Again, like you talked about too, Josh, with Einich over there at first base, he's got quite a few stolen bases, so he's a guy that not only can he hit, he has that speed threat too.
Yeah, he's got a good 3-step lead over there.
Swings and puts that one in between the gap of short and third. No one's going to get there. And that's going to be a hit for Paulie Mancino. He stays hot. Bobcats now guys at first and second with only 1 down.
Yeah, good opportunity for Ohio. They're doing a good job attacking Evan Parmer. Looks like they've got him down a little bit so far. They're getting the fastball timing down. Again, you mentioned velocity earlier, but it looks like they've done a good job adjusting to that velocity. So again, maybe does Parmar throw a little bit more of the off speed? We'll see.
So he does have that slider like you talked about. We've seen him locate it very well so far to begin this ball game, but again, like you said, it's that fastball that the Bobcats, they've been there, and they're timing it up well.
I would say the slider is just as important, especially for the top half of Ohio's lineup with 3 out of 4 guys being lefties. So again, making sure you're locating that pitch where you want to could be key for Parmar.
We'll see, one of those lefties is Trey Cassidy, who's up at the dish now, batting in that cleanup 4-hole spot today for the Bobcats. First baseman, sophomore out of Northville, Michigan. Swings, takes a big hack at that one. Did get a little piece of it, as the umpire indicated there, but still allowed strike 1. Cassidy, a graduate of Detroit Catholic Central, just like the guy who's on second base, Matt Einich. Former teammates in high school. Always fun to see that and have guys that you know at a program. Oh, it always makes that transition much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Cassidy played a part in Einich coming here as well. And Cassidy, he's had a really great year. 309 at the dish, 11 doubles, 19 RBIs. The Ohio catching room has been great, but it seems like Cassidy's been the guy that has really stepped up.
So he's a catcher as well as Jackson Cawthron, who gets the start behind the dish today. We've seen both guys share who's going to be behind the dish in games.
Not only that, but Blake Reed has had a great year, hitting 333. 3 home runs, 3 really good catchers on this Ohio roster.
There's that fastball outside, 3-2. Ohio has the chance to load up the bases or even score a run if they can get a base knock right here from Trey Cassidy. So full count, 1 down, 2 on. And here's the pitch to Trey Cassidy. Takes a hack at that one. This might be trouble going back on those Jordan. And he makes the catch out there in shallow left center field for a big out number 2.
Looks like we're going to have time on the field, Gavin. Looks like Owen Prince.
I saw him kind of go down gingerly. I couldn't tell if he tripped over something or fell or what it was out in center field.
Looks like he's okay, though.
Yeah, so great to see that he is okay. Say him, Torres, and Jordan all kind of came down into that triangle out there in left center field, and it was Jordan that made the catch for the out. Swing and a miss from Nick Dolan, who steps in. The redshirt senior starting at third base today. He's been a guy too that has been a very nice season so far for the Bobcats. Batting .261. He's a guy that's been getting going lately. 18 RBIs as well for him on the year. Has the chance to add to that too with Matt Einich over there at second base. They can cash him in here and get that momentum. It's always about capturing momentum, Josh, too. Baseball is such a momentum-based sport. If you can catch it early, you can ride that for many, many innings.
Oh, absolutely. And Gavin, when you use that momentum, just to win one game, that momentum carries into the next. You and I mentioned in the open how this could be a big series, not just because of record implications, but momentum implications. Ohio's last 3-game series out of conference at VMI, their potent offense is looking to reflect on that in SoCon play. So again, this is a big series, not for the record, but for that momentum that you talked about.
And that momentum right now is with VMI. Strike 3. Nick Dolan goes down swinging. But the Bobcats do get a couple guys on base, but they do strand them in the end. So VMI will get their ups when we come back. And welcome back. 4, 5, and 6 due up for VMI after they went 1, 2, 3 in the top half of the first inning. Blake Gasky continues to get ahead of guys, Josh, early and often, and that's been, I know it's only the second inning, and he's only faced 3 batters, but that's huge for going far in this ballgame.
Oh, absolutely. You know, Gasky came out and wanted to set the tone on this game, and he's doing a great job of that so far.
1-1 now to Cole Riley. Again, one of the many batters on this VMI team that Josh is well above 300 batting average.
We're going to say that about a lot of guys.
Yeah, we are.
Lineup today.
And again, what we talked about in the open is that this VMI team, they are so good offensively. They are nationally ranked #1 in so many different aspects as a team, and as well individually. We talked about so many guys that lead the country in so many different categories. This offense can hurt you in so many ways, Josh. If they get on base via a walk, there's a good chance that walk turns into a run.
Oh, absolutely. And they're going to make you pay in many different ways. Like we said, 172 stolen bases on the year. The numbers are eye-popping. Like we are probably going to be saying those numbers throughout this broadcast. That's how good they are.
And say they're now 1 pitch away from possibly getting that walk. Again, as a team, Josh, they've drawn 254 walks on the year so far. That is the most in the nation. One of the many things that they lead offensively in the country, but walks is one of them. And we'll add 1 to that. Again, like we just talked about, Josh, there's a good chance with no down that walk might turn into a run.
Absolutely, Gavin, especially with Boston Torres coming up next.
So you mentioned Boston Torres. This guy, what can he do? He's batting .385. Josh, here we go again. Leads the nation. This guy, Boston Torres, leads the nation in RBIs with 57. I mean, 57, we're halfway through the year. This guy loves to hit the baseball.
Absolutely.
He launches that one on the outside corner. You know, a good secondary lead by Cole Riley. He's a guy that, I mean, this entire team, Josh, you have to watch out for all of these guys on this VMI team.
Absolutely. And if you're Jackson Cawthron, you have to be on high alert behind the plate as well.
So it's going to be a big day for Jackson Cawthron behind the dish for the Bobcats. He's the catcher in tonight's ball game, and he's definitely going to have his hands full whenever there's a key debt on base. Whether they're at first or second, they're always a stolen base threat.
You know, Gavin, I wonder if that does something to Gasky, too. Does he maybe not throw in the dirt as much? Do you maybe limit your off-speed 0-2, 1-2, and instead go for high fastballs? Or, you know, it's interesting to see how Ohio's going to react to how well VMI steals bases.
And that's something, too, that here at Bob Wren, that this backstop is so big. Over there to Matt Einich, he's going to have no play. Matt Einich, he came up with it cleanly, but just no throw from him. Probably, Josh, a good idea because Torres, he was out that box fast.
Absolutely. I don't think there was a play at any base. So smart play by Einich. And then this is where VMI gets dangerous. You know, we've seen them have multiple double-digit runs scored, and it's because of innings like this. They have a little bit of that momentum. And coming up to the plate is a guy who just went 3 for 4 last game in Newsom.
Yeah, James Newsom, the senior. Talk about a presence in the batter's box, Josh. This guy is 6'7". He shows bunt, pulls back though outside corner for ball 1. And James Newsom, he's a guy too that he's fantastic when you look at the stats. I mean, 12 RBIs, 3 doubles, 2 homers.
I find it hard to believe he's only had 25 at-bats on the year. Yeah. That's how good the Keydets offense has been.
Shows bunt again. This time fouls off and into the glove of Jackson Cawthron.
One thing I noticed, Gavin, was when VMI was warming up, like, their bunting was so good in warm-ups, and you could tell that was something that they regularly practice and regularly implement in games.
So they might be trying to do a sack bunt situation here, but none on that one. It's 2-1.
You know, when we talked to Coach Roberts this week, one thing he highlighted was matchups and how important matchups are this weekend. This matchup has the Keydets' favor. You have a lefty against Gasky who likes to throw the fastball inside, and a guy who just went 3 for 4 with a double last game. This is favoring VMI right now.
Fouled off by Newsome, 2-2. Again, with no down and a guy already in scoring position from that walk, it's going to be a very tough inning now for Blake Gasky and the rest of this Bobcats defense. But Josh, one double play ball in this inning completely changes.
Absolutely.
2-2 swung on and missed. And strikeout also helps too. James Newsome goes down swinging, but Blake Gasky, he pumped that fastball right by him.
Absolutely. You know, like we said, if Gasky just went up there and said, if you're going to beat me with my best pitch, and put it in the exact spot he wanted to. That inside fastball has been big for Gasky so far, especially against lefties.
So now they'll bring up the catcher, Ryan Peterson. Senior out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. Something too, Josh, that when you look at this VMI team, almost every single guy is out of the state of Virginia, and that's something too that Coach Roberts wants. He wants to build this program around the state of Virginia, and that's something that we don't see a lot in collegiate athletics now.
Yeah, absolutely. I love when you asked him about that this week, and I loved his response. You know, it was more about building a culture with guys in this state, and I think that's awesome in today's day and age of college athletics.
Yeah, so with so many guys in the transfer portal and NIL deals, it's great to see a program built out of the state that they're based in. And here's a possible double play ball. They step on the bag for one, but no chance at anything else. A big out number 2, Josh, but also those guys are now 90 feet closer to scoring.
Yeah, this is a big at-bat early in the game right now.
So they'll bring up Aiden Schnars, the only freshman who is starting in this lineup for VMI. They've got some juniors in there, some seniors, some sophomores, but only one freshman, and that guy is Aiden Schnars. So that definitely stands out, Josh, that he's a guy that right now he's above the rest, and he's earned that starting spot.
Yeah, absolutely, Gavin. You know, he's had a heck of a year so far, hitting .289, a homer, 3 doubles, 20 RBIs, slugging .356, and a .454 OBP. But again, he's in a big spot right now. This is a big at-bat early in the game.
Yeah, they got the momentum after holding Ohio to no runs last half inning. They have the chance to continue that momentum, but now down 0-2, 2 down. It's going to be a lot more difficult. But all it takes, Josh, is one hit, and they might score 2 runs. But Blake Gasky looking to close the door. There's that slider just a bit outside, but a nice pitch and a nice location.
Great miss from Gasky. That's a really productive miss, because if he does get Schnars to chase, that's either strike 3 or a very tough pitch to do some damage with. And you could tell Schnars is choking up on the bat. See what Gasky does here with that.
This time it brings the fastball, same location. You can tell he's working that outside of the plate right now to Schnars.
I'm wondering if that has to do with Schnars choking up as well, because sometimes when you choke up, you don't have the barrel as much. So you wonder if Gasky's trying to hit that outside location because of that.
And the 2-2 from Blake Gasky. Once again outside. Breaking ball that time. Great job, though, from Aiden Schnars. You're down 0-2. Now you make it 3-2. Way to battle back.
Good at-bat from Schnars. Good, 2 really good takes in the last 2 pitches. That one was a little bit outside and easier to take, but this is a big pitch.
Big pitch indeed. 3-2, 2 on, 2 down. Swung on, fouled. We'll do the 3-2 over again. Just mistimed that a little bit late, a little bit under it. Still a good swing, though.
This is a good at-bat for Schnars right now. Like we said, anytime you see 7 pitches, that's a really good at-bat. And Schnars is having that right now. But again, he's just got to find a way on base, keep the inning going.
So any way possible, you'll take a walk, you'll take a base hit. And here's that 3-2. Swung on, we'll do it again. Great at-bat right now from the freshman. Like you talked about, Josh, you get to that 7, 8 pitches in the at-bat mark, and it's a good at-bat. We're probably approaching 8 or 9 now. What a great at-bat from him.
Absolutely, especially with how quick Gasky worked in that first inning. They're making him work a little bit more in the second.
The 3-2 once again. This time ball 4 outside. 4 straight outside pitches. That one maybe not the closest of them all, but still a great at-bat and a walk earned right there for Aiden Schnars.
Another thing that stood out to me when we talked to Coach Roberts was how much he emphasized plate discipline. And you could tell that his lineup has so much plate discipline. They're knowing the strike zone so well. They know when to swing and strike. They know when to lay off pitches.
And here's Kazuya Jordan. 2 down, but bases loaded for the junior shortstop. Swings, puts this one out to Matt Einich, flips it over to Bryant at second, and 1 pitch is all it takes to get out of a what could have been. And bottom half of the second inning. Great job by the Ohio Bobcats defense, Josh. That was a dangerous situation. Yes, 2 outs, but bases loaded. You hold them to no runs. Now you bring your offense back up.
Yeah, absolutely. Good first inning for Ohio. They were able to get a couple guys on, weren't able to cash in. We'll see if they can do the same in the second, but maybe bring some runs home with them.
Bottom of 2, Jackson Cawthron will lead it off for the Bobcats. 6, 7, and 8 due up for Ohio in this bottom half of 2. Evan Palmer is trying to work fast, get his guys back up for the top half of 3. That one's roped out into left center field, right between the gap of Schnars and Jordan once again. That's like a couple of times, Josh, that we've seen Ohio go through that gap between short and third.
Yeah, Cawthron was just able to do enough with that pitch. It was a good pitch from Evan Palmer. Cawthron was just able to do some damage with it because it was an inside fastball that Cawthron was a little late on, but was able to squeak it in that gap like you talked about, Gavin.
Man, so that'll bring up the graduate DH in today's ball game. Blake Reed, what a season. The best season that he's had while being at Ohio. Great to see him do so well this season.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about how Ohio has 3 offensive, productive catchers, and all 3 of them are in the lineup today.
So this is... We talked about it before the game, Josh, that this game would be an offensive shootout. So far, we've been wrong. Only 4 hits and no runs scored, but it is only bottom half of 2.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's still plenty of baseball left to be played here under the lights at Bob Wren.
On paper, these 2 teams favor runs
Yeah,
and runs
absolutely.
scored.
So again, when you look at the paper, like you said, Ohio so far 218 runs scored as a team. VMI 369 runs scored as a team. They know how to hit. They know how to get guys in. But so far, it's been the pitching and defense that has held up strong. And so 1-2 now to Blake Reed. Jackson Cawthron stands on first base. This has got double play ball, but bobbled over there by Newsome, and they're not going to get any. I'd imagine they'll go down as an error on Newsome, and everyone's safe.
Oh, they ruled out a hit?
It was a hit. All right.
Okay.
So on the scoreboard here at Bob Wren, they did rule that as a hit, so we'll go down with it. Says that that's a hit. So a base knock for Blake Reed, an infield single. What could have been a possible double play. Instead, now, no down, 2 guys down. Bobcats in business with Cam Bryant on.
I hate to say that, though, Gavin. I think that's an error in my book.
I would also put that down as an error, but we'll go with what the official stats are here.
I'm not the official
here
stat
at Bob
keeper,
Wren.
so
Neither am I.
I'll rock with what they're saying.
So will be Cam Bryant, the redshirt sophomore out of Miamisburg, Ohio.
Looks like Ohio's trying to lay a bunt down here.
Pull back. Good idea. Say first and third base are coming in, and corners are definitely in. Anticipating that bunt. You would imagine, Josh, if they have the chance to get Jackson Cawthron, you want to get the lead runner really whenever. And beautiful bunt. They won't be able to get Jackson Cawthron, but they do get Cam Bryant. But that sack bunt, Josh, huge for the Bobcats right there.
Productive, Gavin. That's exactly what you wanted to do with that bunt. You didn't care if you sacrificed Bryant getting out at first, but making sure that Cawthron and Reed moved 90 feet. That's a good bunt from Cam Bryant, exactly what Ohio needed.
Yeah, absolutely was. Again, it's that 90 feet closer like we talked about. And so now the Bobcats do have the possible opening run of the ball game, only 90 feet away in the form of Jackson Cawthron. And now bring up Trent Newer.
Something to keep an eye on here, Gavin, is Aiden Schnuller is just playing up at third here. I wonder if there's a ground ball to third, if he goes home instead of going to first.
Yeah, I'd wonder the same thing. I would think, Josh, it would end up being how hard does that ball hit?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's a very hard hit ball, there's really, excuse me, there's really no chance of making a play at home plate.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, Newsom now creeps up at first. The whole infield's going to creep up now with 2 strikes.
And a swing and a miss tagged by Peterson just to get Trent Newer. And Josh, that is a huge, huge out, number 2.
Absolutely. Situational pitching so far has bode well for both pitchers. Palmer 1 out away from getting out of this, just like Gasky got out of a bases loaded situation last inning.
So we'll see now if Palmer and VMI can do the same thing. There's that off speed in there for strike 1. However, Josh, if there is any guy that you want up in this situation, it's Matt Einich.
Agreed, Gavin. He's been one of their best hitters this year. We'll see if he can deliver now.
Pops that one up, so it's a quick 0-2. Great job by Evan Palmer of establishing an early advantage for himself in this account, pitching-wise.
I think both starters are pretty similar. You know, they're going to rely on fastball slider. They want to throw strikes. They want to work quick. You know, I'm seeing similarities between both guys.
Big 0-2 from Palmer. Just a bit high. Good miss, though. Good miss.
Very good.
So, of course, if you do want to miss that fastball high, you don't want it to still be enough to where a batter can get his barrel around. That high fastball, we said so much, looks so enticing to a batter. And Matt Einich ropes out and out into the gap. It's going to get down. He's going to have extra bases. 1 run is in, 2 runs in, and sliding into second base is Matt Einich. Pump me up. Bobcats established a 2-0 lead earlier on in the bottom half of the second inning.
What a piece of hitting from Einich. 2 strikes. He sees the high fastball for a ball, and then the next high fastball he attacks. What a great piece of hitting from Matt Einich in a clutch situation as well.
And so the Bobcats still have the ability to add even more to this advantage. That double did put Einich into scoring position. And again, for a guy like Ben Slanker up at the dish, he's a guy that he's like Einich too. Can hit anywhere in the park. He's got that power to him as well. And against an offense that's so potent like VMI, you want to establish that early advantage. This one hit off the end of the bat of Ben Slanker. And it's a 1-3 to end the inning. However, the Bobcats do jump out in front, 2-0 in favor of Ohio over VMI. The Keydets will get their at-bats when we come back. 1-2-3 due up for the VMI Cadets to lead off the top half of the third inning. But before that, Kaliasko is back and joins us with more.
So basically, Gasky just starts. He's trying to set the tone for the game. He had an amazing strikeout for the first inning, and that really left the VMI parents with their jaws on the floor. They weren't expecting this with our record. They were thinking this was going to be an easier game. However, Gasky didn't want that to be on the floor, and so everyone was just kind of sitting around like, what are we going to do? They thought that Palmer was going to deliver the same thing for the bottom of the first, and he didn't, and you could see the frustration from the parents. You could hear it from the dugout. And then I would say more in the second inning, you hear a lot of chirping from both dugouts, just trying to get back at each other and trying to set a better tone for the rest of the game.
Kaya, thank you so much. Owen Prince lined out. Blake Gasky again continuing his good start. Just being able to establish that rhythm early and often, getting guys out with 1-2 pitches definitely helps keep his pitch count down. Again, like we talked about so much, Josh, that this VMI offense can hit you in any way possible.
Yeah, and only 36 pitches for Gasky so far, Gavin. It's pretty impressive numbers. 3 strikeouts early, 2 walks, which is mainly what costed him last inning, were those 2 walks. But again, keep pounding the strike zone. VMI, they like to take pitches. They like to be patient. So what's the best way to go about that as a starter? Is to throw strikes and make them hit it. I love how Gasky's hitting the corners as well. He's really utilizing outside with the slider, inside with the fastball.
This one hit out to Bryant over there at second. Comes up with it cleanly over to Trey Cassidy. And it's a 4-3 ground out. Josh, we talked about it. Working fast is the key to this game. Blake Gasky doing that. A great job so far.
Absolutely. We can't say enough about just how well Gasky has pitched through 2 2/3 innings.
And say again, that's what you need. You need to get off to a good start defensively against this Cadet offense, as well as hoping that your offense helps you out. They've done that so far. 5 hits, 2 runs to show for the Bobcats in their first 2 ups in this ball game. But again, still a long way to go, though, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're Gasky and Ohio, if Gasky gets you 8 innings, 7 innings in game 1 of a 3-game series and you only have to use one other reliever, that's a major victory. So, an Ohio offense, or an Ohio pitching staff, that just had to use 5 relievers Wednesday against Marshall, So just making sure that you're keeping a couple arms rested, especially if Gasky can get you a good start tonight.
And he continues with that good start right there. Pumps the fastball right by Grayson Fitzwater. And just like the first inning, it's 1-2-3 for the Keydats. The offense hasn't been there, just 1 hit so far through their first 3 at-bats. The Bobcats get their ups when we come back. Three, 4, and 5 due up for Ohio in this bottom half of the third inning. Led off by Paulie Mancino, the sophomore center fielder in tonight's ball game. Native of Westlake, Ohio, graduate of St. Ignatius up in Cleveland. So the sun is still going down here at Bob Wren. 6:47 is is our current time. And Josh, we're getting to that point now where summer's getting closer.
The cherry blossoms are out.
The cherry blossoms are out. The sun sets later in the day now. We're getting to that point where it certainly doesn't feel like summer just yet. I believe we're still probably in the 40s in terms of temperature, but we're getting closer. Days are longer. That's always a fun sign.
Absolutely. It's always good for baseball weather, too.
Beautiful slider in there right there from Evan Palmer.
And golf weather, which I found out a lot of guys on both teams like to golf in their free time. So.
Yeah, always a fun time going out there, hitting the greens. Maybe not on days like today.
No, it would not be fun out there today.
But on a day where hopefully we have some in the future where it's 70s and the sun's out, maybe a little bit of a light breeze. Paulie Mancino gets that one down, just foul though. A little bit late, but good contact though from Mancino.
It's a good at-bat for Mancino so far. Again, we talked about seeing pitches and how that can turn in quality at-bats, and I think this is one of them right here. He's probably seen 5-6 pitches now, but again, good contact on that one right there.
Puts that one back up into play. Jordan can come up with it cleanly and no throw in the end. So Mancino, he reaches base again, I'd imagine. Yes, it does. It goes down as a base hit, so 2 for 2 so far for Paulie Mancino.
Something the Ohio offense has done well so far is just put the ball in play. I mean, we saw in the first inning that error/base hit that we were calling a base hit because the stat keeper called it one, have a huge impact on that inning, and, that turned into runners on third and second, and that led to a 2-run double. So, again, it's just putting the ball in play and making things happen has been the Ohio offense's remedy so far, and it's worked.
And so that's all that you really have to do is put the ball in play, and things will work out. And they've done that so far. Again, that's their 6th hit. They have 2 runs to show for it compared to VMI's 1.
They already have more hits in their last game against Marshall.
Yeah.
So that's impressive work from the Ohio offense.
Very much so. And that was a tough game, too, against Marshall on Wednesday. They fell behind early. They were down 4-0 after 1, but then they did battle back. And again, that's something, too, that this offense, they know that they're never down and out of a ball game. They made it 4-4 in the second inning against the Thundering Herd. They took the lead, too. They were up 6-4 in the bottom of 5, but then they gave up 3 runs in the top half of the 6th, and then 2 in the top half of the 7th, and they couldn't regain the lead after that.
Yeah, one thing that Coach Moore said, Gavin, was he never feels like that they're out of the game because he has so much confidence in their offense and their ability to do damage at any point in time. And even though it didn't go their way against Marshall, he said he never felt like his team was out of it.
So they certainly were. They were in that game. Again, they had the lead for a couple innings within that ball game, but just couldn't see it out after the fact. And then that's kind of been the story so far this Bobcat season, is maybe they can get the lead, but they can't see the ball game out. Swing and miss right there from Trey Cassidy. Beautiful off speed from Evan Palmer.
A.J. Havrilla has been really good this year for Marshall, and he had another really good game against Ohio on Wednesday. He hit that walk-off grand slam that won them their first matchup against Ohio and hit another home run on Wednesday that really sealed the deal.
That was the 3rd strikeout for Evan Palmer on the night. Pick off on Mancino. Josh, honestly, I think if that throw was a little bit more up, that would have been very, very close.
I was going to say the same thing. That was a good move. And Palmer has a really good pickoff move.
Yeah, very fast with it. Mancino gets a couple steps lead. So he did actually take off in that last at-bat, but Trey Cassidy fouled it off down the third base line. Mancino, he's a guy, too, that Josh, that he's one of the many players on this Bobcats team that they can hit, but they're also very fast, too.
Absolutely. We see that with a couple guys in the lineup. Einich has some really good speed. I'd say Trenton Newer's another guy at the bottom of the lineup. You want your 9-hole hitter to have some speed, and Trenton Newer does that.
And so you look at the opposite, too, VMI. Kazuya Jordan, he's a guy that can fly, and he also bats in that 9-hole for the Keydets. So maybe both teams kind of going with the mentality of Josh of they have that 9-hole hitter almost be a second leadoff guy, in a sense.
Absolutely. We've seen that happen with a lot of teams lately. Ever since the DH took over for the pitcher in all levels of baseball, we're seeing that 9-hole spot become very important, actually, to teams' lineups.
There's a beautiful hit right there from Nick Dolan. Put some power behind that one, and Jordan couldn't get down to it quickly enough. And just like that, 2 guys on, 1 down. And so that'll bring up Jackson Cawthorn.
We saw Ohio bunt in this situation early.
Yeah.
Wonder with 1 out, maybe is it out of play? Maybe is it not? You know,
maybe try and catch him. Maybe possibly 2. Say, I would think 1 down. Don't try and risk it, but if you can drop down a nice bunt and get that guy on and have bases loaded 1 down, that's a whole different situation.
well, something to keep an eye on. Schnars is up at third, and Newsom is back at first. So
Yeah.
bunt down the first baseline would work in this instance, but it looks like Palmer also falls toward the first base side. So it's going to be tough to get a bunt down that side, even though that Newsom is back.
So 1 down, but 2 on for Ohio. After putting up a 2 spot last inning, can they put up more this half inning? Now down low, 1-1. Cawthorn singled in his last at bat and came around to score just an inning ago. So he's a guy that's already been productive so far, both hitting and scoring. Swings, takes a big hack at that one, but a good pitch and good location right there from Evan Palmer. If he can get the out or a double play ball as well, Josh, that'd be a big 1 or 2 outs for VMI.
Wonder what pitch he goes with here.
Just a little bit low and outside. I believe it was that slider that he's got. It looks from up here, it looks so deceiving, especially to a lefty batter.
Absolutely. And I think the goal with that pitch was to either swing and miss or get a rollover and get that double play that you were talking about with the ground ball.
So now 2-2, still some room to work with. This one's going to be hit out to right center field, and it's going to get down for a base hit. Mancino wasn't going, so he can't advance farther than third base, but still, Josh, 1 down, now bases loaded.
A lot of Ohio hitters already have 2 hits on the day. Heinich, Paulie Mancino has 2 hits, and now Jackson Cawthorn. They've gotten some good production from their lineup so far.
And so after that game against Marshall, that's what you want. You want your offense to get out there and establish a lead early and then have your defense kind of play off of that. And they've done a great job of that so far. 2 runs, 8 hits, and they can certainly open the game up even more right here.
Absolutely. Their contact has been very productive so far as well. So the offense, if they're clicking, this is a team that can score 15 runs in a game, and they've done it at times this season. So, it's good to see that the offense is clicking. And, like we talked about consistency-wise, is sometimes that offense is clicked, but their pitching, hasn't been great. Like in that 18-13 loss, I believe, against Eastern Michigan, there have been times this year where you get one-sided, either offensively or pitching-wise, but you just don't get the other. And then, all those little mistakes that you make, such as errors throughout the game, can come back to bite you. So it's just all about getting consistent performances from your offense, your pitching, and your defense.
Yeah, so you talk about the consistency. Well, in their last MAC series against NIU on the road, consistency, that was the name of the game, and it wasn't there for Ohio. They were blanked in the first game. They lost 5-0. But then in the second game, they put up 17 runs in a 17-16 win. But then they put up 7 in a 17-7 loss. So the consistency, it hasn't all been there, Josh, at that point in time. But you look at that series, you look at game 2, your offense puts up 17, but your pitching allows 16. So that's not where you can get both consistency from offense and defense. And that's the big thing, is that especially when your offense puts up 17 runs, you want to make sure that you can also allow your pitching staff and defense to allow less than 16 preferably, but you still get the win. Blake Reed sends this one out in the center field. It's going to be way back there. It's going to be a couple hops off the wall. This might blow this game wide open. 1's in, 2's in. They're going to score 3. Blake Reed looking to stretch it for a triple. But he's out, though, at third base. So give him credit for a double. But Josh, 3 RBIs for Blake Reed. How about that?
What an at-bat from Blake Reed. I mean, it didn't look like at first that it was going to carry that much, but then it kept going and going, and as soon as you knew it, it was over Owen Prince's head. And something that was interesting to keep an eye on there for Ohio was the base running. It didn't look like Mancino was going right away at third, but Dolan and Cothran went right away from first and second, so that's why those two were able to score so quickly and easily, because they got a good read on that.
Say, at first, Josh, I was with you. I didn't think that ball had too much carry on it, but then I saw Owen Prince go back and back and back, and before he knew it, that ball was over his head.
Mancino had to also be careful, too, in case it wasn't over Owen Prince's head. He had to tag up for third, so good base running from Ohio right there.
Great base running and great contact, too, right there from Blake Reed. Again, he's a guy that, we talked about it, he's having his best Bobcat season right now. Graduate student out of Gahanna. Just what a season that he's been on. And again, we're only about halfway through. He can still continue to go up and up and up this year.
Absolutely. And he's done it so far in, limited at-bats. Yeah. He hasn't started every day. He's only started about a little over half of Ohio's games so far, so I'd love to see what he can do with some more at-bats.
See, Cam Bryant does go down in that at-bat, but the Bobcats put up a 3 spot in the bottom half of the third inning, 5-0 in favor of the Bobcats. Key that's due up when we come back. And 6 to up for the Keydets to lead off the top half of the fourth inning. Cole Riley will be the man to get it started. He reached via a walk in his last at-bat. This time it's over to Bryant, over to Cassidy, and it's a very quick 4-3 ground out for the first out of the fourth inning.
43 pitches for Gasky so far, 10 outs.
Yeah.
Impressive work for Ohio starter Blake Gasky.
So he's making quick work of this Keydet offense that, again, Josh, we talked about it so much. We talked about it so much so far. We're going to continue talking about how potent this offense is. He's done a great job of getting strikeouts, getting quick ground balls. He's only allowed 1 hit so far.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the team hitting summary for both teams, the Keydets are 1 for 11 at the plate so far. Ohio is 9 for 16, 6 for 12 with runners on base, and 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position. It's been impressive work from the Ohio offense. And, we've talked this whole broadcast so far about how good this Keydet offense is. And it's only the 4th inning, so they can strike at any time. But, man, what a pitching performance it's been from Gasky so far.
And so if you want to get going, well, Boston Torres, the guy at the dish for VMI, he's the guy that can definitely get it going for you. Transfer from Cedarville University. Last year he batted .391 with 75 hits and 53 RBIs. while at Cedarville. He was also GMAC Freshman of the Year honor and second team All Conference. So a guy with accolades to his name, and the stats certainly back it up, Josh.
Yeah, I could see him getting another all-conference accolade this year, Gavin, for the SoCon, the season he's having. A couple guys in this lineup should be getting accolades this year from the SoCon for the years they're having.
Yeah, they absolutely should be. And he does draw the walk, so again, the nation-leading team in walks, well, they had another one.
3 so far today. And, the impressive part is they've been 3-2 counts.
Yeah.
It's been earned walks, not necessarily given walks.
So Boston Torres gets his free pass to first base to bring up James Newsom. He rockets this one out in the right field. If it's fair, it's gone. And it is fair. That's a 2-run bomb. James Newsom. He got his pitch and he did not look back. His 3rd home run of the season. And just like that, it's now 5-2.
What a 2-game stretch James Newsom has been having. We talked about last game how he went 3 for 4 against Radford and had a double. And he's hitting 440 coming into this game with only 25 at-bats. And that's something that Coach Robert said. It was great to see Newsom kind of come alive last game. But, man, it looks like he's coming alive for good this season. What a couple game stretch he's had.
So he's been fantastic. Again, like we talked about it, Josh, right there. We talked about it last half inning, but if a guy gets on via a walk, you never know what can happen. So instead of a solo shot, now that's a 2-run shot. That makes this game completely different. A 4-run lead is so different from now what it is, a 3-run lead.
Absolutely. Like we said, the little things are going to matter in this game. If you're high, you can't give up too many free passes. They're going to make you pay on the base paths, and they can make you pay in the power department like they just did.
So that is now their 50th team home run on the season. Again, like you said, Josh, that they can get on, they can also hit you with that power too. And we saw it right there. That ball cleared the fence by a good chunk. Good lead right there, 2-2. 1 down, still a lot of opportunity for the Keydets to just claw their way back into this game.
And if you're Gasky on the mound, you just have to keep throwing strikes. You keep doing what you're doing. I think he just missed with a fastball over the plate right there, which he hasn't done really all day.
This one's going to be tough. But taken in, though, right there by Matt Einich. Good job of calling off both Newer and Dolan. And that is a big out number 2.
What a job Einich has done defensively, stepping in for J.R. Nelson, all-MAC defensive team last year. And, Einich, just a freshman, going from second to short. He's done a very nice job.
So they'll bring up the freshman Aiden Schnars. Native of Moseley, Virginia. In high school, this guy, talk about accolades, Josh. This guy racked up accolades. 4-time All-Regional selection, 2-time All-State honoree, 2020 Regional champion. Not only did he do all that, Josh, he also played football as well as baseball. So multi-sport athlete. That just goes so far, being a guy that can play multiple sports.
Yeah, impressive stuff from Aiden Schnars. And, a lot of guys accomplished so much in Virginia.
Yeah.
You learned a lot about some high school sports teams in the state of Virginia
You do.
prepping for this game with VMI having so many guys from the state.
Watches that one just a little bit low. 2-1. You can hear the VMI dugout as well as the fans, Josh. They're building this team up. They know that they're only down by 3. And with an offense like this, 3 runs, that's almost nothing to them.
Absolutely.
So 2-2, 2 down to Schnars. Blake Gasky looking to get out of this inning without giving up any more damage. 2-2, is it going to be a tough play for Matt Einich? That's going to be fielded by Nick Dolan. And he got him, a bang-bang play at first base. What a play by Nick Dolan, a 5-3 ground out to get Aiden Schnars. Tough play that was. We'll go to the bottom half of the 4th inning. 5-2 is now our score.
Welcome back to the bottom half of the fourth inning as Ohio's offense is due up. Trenton Newer, Matt Einich, and Ben Slanker. 9-1-2 due up for the Bobcats in the bottom half of the fourth.
So like you said right there, Josh, Trenton Neuer will lead off the bottom half of your fourth inning for Ohio. They definitely don't want to give up that offensive momentum that they've got, Josh, after putting up 5 runs in the past 2 innings.
Yeah, absolutely. They've gotten some guys on. They've done damage. They've gotten the hit when it mattered most, when guys were on third and second. Einich delivered the double, and Blake Reed with another double that cleared the bases. So, 5 runs on, 2 very important hits. Ohio's offense has done a good job of cashing in when they have guys in position to do so.
And Neuer fouls that one off, so we'll do it over again. 1-2. Here's that 1-2. Down low in the dirt from Evan Palmer. 2-2. Swung on by Trenton Newer. Good piece of hitting right there from the Bobcats left fielder. He got a pitch that he liked, and Josh, he certainly did miss it.
A good piece of hitting. 2 strikes there from Trenton Newer, and he was able to do damage with that. Looks like we got to call the bullpen here, Gavin.
I believe we will. So we already had 1 mound visit for Evan Palmer, so we'll go ahead and get a new key depth pitcher on the mound. So that will spell the end for Palmer.
A little surprised they're pulling Palmer this early. I don't think he's necessarily pitched bad so far. Couple walks, couple base hits, but I guess already at 83 pitches. So
right.
His pitch count was up, but on paper it's not going to look like that good of a start. Evan Palmer pitched pretty well today. A couple pitches he left over the plate that he paid for. But, the Ohio offense did a pretty good job, has done a great job, I should say, so far. So, not a bad day for Evan Palmer, though. Really not.
No, not at all. So he did his job, and outside of those 5 runs that were allowed, he's thrown in some strikeouts for them, not too many walks issued. Really, it's just those base hits.
It's like Jason Spiegel is the new pitcher in for VMI.
And Josh, you are correct. It will be Justin Spiegel, the 6-foot-tall sophomore of Chester, Virginia. 0-1 with a 7 even ERA through 18 innings of work, 16 runs, 14 of those earned, 14 walks, but 21 strikeouts. So, Josh, a pretty good walks to strikeouts ratio.
Yeah, Gavin, in his last outing, I believe it was in the 3-game series against Mercer, where he went 4 1/3, 4 hits, 0 earned runs allowed. So he's used to eating, a couple innings more than just 1 or 2 like you normally get from a relief pitcher. I wonder what the plan is for Spiegel right now, see how far he can get into this game.
It will be interesting, Josh, like you said, just to see how far, because we're already into the bottom half of the 4th inning, so just about to be into that midway part of the ball game. And you would have to imagine, Josh, you'd probably want, I'd say, at least, three innings from him, maybe if he can give you more.
Yeah, like we just talked about, if you can get 4 1/3 like he gave you against Mercer, that'd be huge in this instance. He's going to work with 3 pitches, fastball, curveball, and a changeup. So, this is a big relief spot right now, because this is one of those games where if you throw 3 good innings, you keep your team in the game. And, if your offense does their job, maybe you have the lead by the time you're done. But also, if you give up a couple and you slip up, this game could get out of hand pretty quickly.
So that's going to be the big thing is especially too, Josh, after your offense put up 2 in this past half inning, you want to get them in, keep them warm, and get them in as fast as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pickoff attempt just to keep an eye on Trent Newer over there at first base. And again, with the first swinging lefty Matt Einich up at the dish, he's already 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs to his name as well. Quick 2-0 count, no to Matt Einich. Make it now 3-0. Again, maybe, Josh, it's a much different arm slot release that Spiegel has compared to Palmer. I wonder how much that might affect where the Bobcats are going to try and put the baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Spiegel has that kind of over the top motion, would you say? It kind of
It's
comes
almost
from the side.
right.
But,
It's almost like out wide and over the top, kind of.
yeah.
But it certainly definitely has that fastball. So we heard the mid of Peterson pop after that previous strike was thrown in there. So again, probably going to try and establish that fastball early and then work in that curveball changeup like you talked about. It's going to be important, again, to establish that fastball, work in those off speed as well. Just a little bit too high on that fastball, though. And so coming out the bullpen, he does walk Matt Einich. Now with no down, the Bobcats have 2 guys on.
And I don't think this is the guy you want to face with 2 guys on and Ben Slanker either.
No, so we've already seen 1 home run hit in this ball game, and that was by James Newsom last half inning. But with a guy like Ben Slanker, he's already got 14 home runs on the year so far.
Up there in the national leaders
Yeah.
as well. I think we said tied for 9th.
Yes, he is.
In
He's
the broadcast.
currently tied for 9th in home runs. He's a guy that also leads the MAC in slugging with a 780 slugging percentage. He leads the MAC in OPS, second the MAC in RBIs, leads the MAC in home runs, and also tied for first in the MAC in sac flies as well. So he's a big offensive production. Takes a big hack at that one. You could tell he wanted that one. He wanted that one.
You know, Gavin, last year when Ohio had Gideon Antle, he was one of the best hitters in the MAC.
Yeah.
And he had eye-popping numbers like this. And, you know, you wondered in the offseason how Ohio can replace that production that he gave you. Well, Ben Slanker has done that and a little bit more this year so far.
And so you bring in guys like Matt Einich as well. You've seen production from the guy who's up next, Paulie Mancino. You get a lot of guys to step up, and that really helps go a long way.
And a lot of the guys that stepped up are younger guys.
Yeah.
Slanker's a sophomore. Einich is a freshman. Paulie Mancino, another guy who we've talked about plenty on this broadcast, is only a sophomore. And, you know, they've gotten veterans like Trent Newer to step up as well. So they've gotten contributions from a bunch of different guys.
And so you throw in guys like Blake Reed, too.
Grad student.
Yeah,
in
grad
Reed.
student, yeah. Trent Newer as well, grad student.
Nick Dolan's a redshirt senior.
Yeah. Say guys that, again, the offense really, when they're on, they're hard to stop.
Absolutely. Both these offenses, when they're on,
absolutely.
it's hard to stop.
And say, I mean, it's 5-2 right now. Who knows what this final score could be? There's that double play ball, though, from the pitcher. They get 1-2. And they do get the double play. Ben Slanker hands on his helmet. He thought he was safe. I wondered, Josh, if there's going to be an appeal and if the umpires might come and talk that one over. But as of right now, it's a 1-6-3 double play.
Bang, bang play. I think that's a tough play to appeal, Gavin.
Very
you know,
tough.
I mean, just because the umpires are necessarily in position
Right.
to make that call, you know what I mean? Obviously, the out at second was one, but the first base umpire had the best view
Right.
of that play. You know, I think what he calls is what you stick with.
Thought that one actually hit Paulie Mancino right there, but just a little bit inside to where it didn't.
Almost looked like he got his jersey.
Yeah,
Either that or the mid of the
right.
catcher.
So it will be a quick 2-0 count, though, to Paulie Mancino.
When that last at-bat to Slanker really went for
Yeah,
a couple
he
pitches.
did. He did.
He was swinging hard.
And here comes the runner. Trent Newer breaks for home. And that's going to be the 6th run for the Bobcats. Heads up base running from Trent Newer. And Josh, that's what you want to see.
Yeah, he got a great read on that play. You could see Mancino waving him on right away, but he had already had his jump started.
Yeah.
Really good base running awareness there from Newer, and he took off right away. He knew as soon as that ball got passed that he would be able to maybe score a run on that play.
And that's one of the things that Josh here at Bob Brennan, we talked about it so much. This backstop is huge. And even just a simple little bounce off the catcher's mitt right there, that can cost you a run.
Absolutely. Just did.
Now with the speed threat of Mancino on after the walk issued to him, that brings up Trey Cassidy. And so far, Josh, too, that is the 2nd walk issued by Justin Spiegel. So the command hasn't been there, I think, as much as he would have liked so far.
Yeah, and, you have to wonder if that's maybe because he didn't get enough time to warm
Right.
up, just adjusting to the umpire strike zone, and Mancino's already got 3-step
Yeah.
lead off first. But, it's tough to come out of relief this early in a game, because maybe, if you come in the 8th, 9th, you're coming in and you have from the 6th to the 8th to warm up. But for Spiegel's case, it may have just been, we need to bring somebody in.
Yeah.
Let's get this guy up and going.
Off goes Mancino. The hit and run was on. Trey Cassidy liked what he saw. Great jump, too, as well from Mancino. He would have been in there easily if there was an attempt at it.
But now Mancino has to be careful. He has that 3-step lead like we talked about, and that first pickoff attempt was pretty close.
It was very close, yeah. It's a big lead for Mancino. He wants to take off. Pickoff attempt, again, pretty close, but he's back in there safely.
He's aggressive with his lead, but he's also quick to get back to first.
Pretty good size lead for Mancino off first base. This one's up by Trey Cassidy, but taken in nicely, though, by Fitzwater. That was a big catch right there from him out in right field. That will put an end to the 4th inning here at Bob Wren. Our score 6-2 in favor of the Ohio Bobcats. Top half of the 5th inning. VMI now down by 4, 6-2. Kazuya Jordan will lead off for the Keydets. Again, he's a guy, Josh, that if he gets on, look out, because he's drawn 23 walks, 32 stolen bases.
Absolutely. And he's 2nd on his team, but I believe he's towards the top in the nation.
I believe so as well, yeah. Yeah, so he is 3rd in the nation in stolen bases with that 32. Owen Prince is the guy who's up next. He leads the nation in stolen bases with 40.
Well, something that's impressive for Jordan is he's only been caught stealing once as well this year.
Yeah, so say he's a guy that when he does steal, he knows how to swipe those bags too.
And Owen Prince has been caught 8 times, so he's the more efficient guy at stealing bases, whereas Prince just has had the opportunity to do it more.
Down low, good pitch right there from Blake Gasky. And besides that, last inning, Josh Gasky, he's worked fast and given up no runs.
Again, like I said, it's just one bad pitch for Gasky. That's the only thing that's blemished his really good start so far.
Another 6-4 ground out for Kazuya Jordan. So 2 groundouts for him will bring up Owen Prince. Like we talked about, Josh, this guy leads the nation in stolen bases. He's a guy that knows how to get on. He's also drawn 35 walks compared to only 18 Ks.
Think about the fact, too, that when Jordan comes up, they turn it back to Prince.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a dangerous duo to have hitting back-to-back. 72 stolen bases combined between those two guys. That's more than probably a lot of teams in the NCAA, because second in the nation was, I believe, 112. They had swiped 60 more bags as a team than anybody else in the country. That's insanely impressive.
And then you turn it over to 2, 3, 4. All of those guys are batting above 300, well above 300.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bradley Garner, who's up next, he's coming into this one. He was batting 402.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a dangerous all-around offense, numbers-wise, and they can strike at any time.
And so it doesn't take much to get them going, too. Again, they're only down by 4, but 4 runs to them, not too much. Matt Einich, good clean play, good throw as well for that 6-4 ground out. So Matt Einich, 2 balls hit to him, 2 outs. And so that does bring up Bradley Garner. He's 0 for 2 with 2 ground outs. One was to Matt Einich. The other was to Nick Dolan over at third base. Time was called. He'll go and talk to the third base coach. But again, Josh, a good job so far from Blake Gasky. He did give up those 2 runs last time around in the top half of the 4th inning. But 5th inning now, he's back to where he was 1 through 3.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Like we said, he just missed with the fastball over the middle. That's all. That's the only thing that he's done that has cost him so far, and he's done a great job. Other than that, only at 67 pitches, he's worked quickly. He's worked efficiently. This has been such a good start for Gasky, especially considering, that the Ohio pitching staff has been shaky at points this year, and, making sure that he's doing his best on the mound, and he's pumping strikes, and he's letting his guys behind him go to work as well. So I can't say enough about how good of a start that Blake Gasky has gotten off to so far.
And say, like you talked about too earlier, Josh, especially after that midweek game on Wednesday against Marshall, where they had to use so many guys from the bullpen. This one's hit up the middle, good piece of hitting right there from Bradley Garner. Again, a guy that came into this game with a 4.02 average. Well, he shows you why right there. It doesn't take a lot for him to get going.
Oh, absolutely. Hitting 4.02 on the year, Gavin. Impressive numbers.
Very much so.
Impressive numbers. Second in the SoCon. I was wondering where he was. So he's second in the SoCon.
And I'll bring up Grayson Fitzwater. Again, a guy who even know that he's got 2 Ks on his line so far. He's a guy that came into this game with a 312 average and 50 RBIs. Add in 12 home runs, too. A lineup with a lot of pop and speed as well. Very dangerous combination. They know how to hit. They know how to run, too.
They have a good mix of lefties and righties as well.
Yeah. But it's a quick 0-2 now to Grayson Fitzwater. So Gasky can get out of this. Not a jam necessarily, but still a guy on. Always dangerous with this VMI offense.
I think we have a track invite going on behind the side.
I was just going to say,
that
I was trying to see who was talking. It sounds, like a track.
Well, I heard something about Nelsonville York High
Yeah.
School, and then that made sense because I saw buses walking in. So
I'm assuming that there's a local high school track meet right behind us. I wonder who's running. Say we heard Nelsonville York, so that's a one. I wonder any other TV schools that might be running. No idea. We'll have to find out.
I was wondering what I was hearing.
Yeah. Little side quest here at the ballpark. Always fun. Back-to-back hits, though. That's also fun for VMI. First was Bradley Garner. This time it was Grayson Fitzwater. And just like that, 2 down, but 2 on.
Yeah, good piece of hitting from Grayson Fitzwater right there. He was down in the count and really in a tough spot. He was down 0-2, and time was called, and he just did a good job just finding a gap. Really this inning for the Keydets has been big. Not even if they don't score, just from the fact that they've hit the ball a lot harder this inning than they have in previous innings.
Much harder. They're seeing that ball a lot. Now bring up Cole Riley. 0 for 1 with a walk is his line so far. Takes down in their strike 1. Again, good job by Gasky of establishing that first pitch strike early. He's done that to so many batters, and that's so far turned out to be a very pivotal advantage for him.
Absolutely. We'll see if it pays off in this at-bat, because this is another big at-bat for Gasky.
Just a little bit inside. I wonder what pitch that was, Josh, because it seemed that it kind of tailed into the batter almost like a 2-seam.
Maybe, yeah. 2-seam, 4-seam for Gasky, maybe.
Yeah. So it is 1-1. There's that fastball again in there. 1-2.
Garner has a pretty good lead at second, and it doesn't look like Bryant's really worried about him. I wonder if the runners take off here.
So there's a pretty big lead, too, by Fitzwater over at first. Very big lead, actually. He's about a third off the base. Good hack at that one right there by Riley, but a little bit late and under it. So we'll do it over again at 1-2. So 1-2, 2 down, but 2 on. Bradley Garner over at second. Grayson Fitzwater on at first. Cole Riley looking to try and get back into this ball game for VMI. Josh, you would think it's 6-2. If they can at least cut that lead in half, make it 6-3, it's a whole different ball game.
Oh, absolutely. One swing of the bat can change things drastically here, right now.
I mean, we've already seen 1 home run so far. Again, with this VMI team, now they've hit 50 home runs on the year. A long ball, that can go a long way. Certainly, this is going to be a tough play. Nick Dolan comes up with it cleanly. Good throw by Nick Dolan for that 5-3 ground out. Big out for this Ohio Bobcat defense. Now go ahead and put an end to the top half of the 5th inning. We'll go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. 6-2 is our score.
Yes. No runs, 2 hits.
Nick Dolan will lead off the bottom half of the 5th inning for Ohio. Just made that 5-3 nice ground out play over there at third base. So he'll go ahead and lead off for the Bobcats. Bottom of 5, good game we've got so far. 6-2 is the score.
course, Gavin, it's the Turnip Gold game.
It
tonight.
is.
You know, you and I know all about that
We
game.
do.
They do it for every Ohio athletics, and you know, it's a great cause.
It is. It's a fantastic cause. Turnip Gold, of course, like you said, Josh, is every OU athletic event has a Turnip Gold game, as well as you and I both, the Southern Ohio Copperheads broadcasters. Last summer, we had our Turnip Gold game, a great game for an even greater cause.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one that I'll always remember, that Turnip Gold game.
So if you don't know what Turnip Gold is, it's an amazing organization that fights childhood cancer. They are a big partner in childhood cancer research. So again, it's great to see them partner with the Copperheads of the GLSCL, with every OU athletic team, men's and women's side here at Ohio. Again, like I said, great game, but it's for an even greater cause, and it's great to see and be here for the Turnip Gold game.
Yeah, absolutely. Military Appreciation Day tomorrow, Youth Day Sunday. It's
Barks in the Park all weekend too.
Bob Wren's gonna be busy this weekend.
It absolutely will be. Say, hopefully the weather, I believe, is supposed to cooperate. Let's go ahead and check, because I'm also sitting here. It's pretty chilly. Right now, it's 42. Feels like 38 here in Athens. It's only going to get colder. Low of 31 tonight, but it's going to warm up. Tomorrow, 56. Sunday, 62. And then, Josh, it's going to be warm. Pretty warm. Next week, 77 on Monday. Then we'll dip back down to the 50s, but then the 60s come back up right after that. So,
Sweet.
good baseball weather coming up this weekend.
I will never complain about warm weather.
Me neither. Say, especially after all the rain that we've had here in Athens the past week and a half. Again, we talked about the Hawking River. It's overflown. I've never seen the banks so high on the Hawking. This one's put in play, though. Jackson Cawthron trying to get over the first base, but a good play by Newsom. Flips over to Spiegel. That's a 3-1 ground out.
Looks like Spiegel's finally finding his groove.
Yeah. Maybe it took him a little bit to get into it, but even so, I mean, only one run allowed so far. That's not bad.
And that's not even an earned run on him.
No,
I believe
right.
that one would go to Palmer.
Right.
So,
And say, even that, it really wasn't anything on his part. The pitch wasn't that far outside. It just came off of the edge seam with Peterson's glove and bounced to the backstop.
I wouldn't put that all on Spiegel.
No.
I agree with you.
This one's good. Hit right there out to left field, but right to Torres out there. In left, actually, he dropped the ball. I looked down assuming that he caught it. I didn't even know that he actually dropped it. It seemed.
I think it hit the ground
Did it?
first,
Okay.
and then Torres tried to scoop it, and he couldn't come up with it. So I think no matter what, it hit the ground first. But I think what allowed Reed to stretch that to a double was the fact that you know he dropped it on the scoop and wasn't able to recover quick enough.
So Blake Reed have a ball game. 3 for 3 for Blake Reed. Good strike on the outside corner, but again, Josh 2 down, yeah, but a chance for right now for the Bobcats and for Cam Bryant to just increase that lead a little bit more.
Ohio's 3 for 8 in runners in scoring position this game, 2 for 6 with 2 outs. So they're faring well in these situations.
So they had the chance to at least add on 1.
Good pitch from Palmer. Really good pitch right there. That's what he needed. Or, excuse me, Spiegel. Palmer's the starter.
Just a little bit down low. Josh, I wonder what pitch would you go here? 2-2 count. First base is open, but you have 2 outs.
I loved that slider he threw 2 pitches ago.
This is going to be a tough play. Boston Torres coming in. It's going to get down for a base hit. Blake Reed was going on contact because there was 2 down. And he scores standing up. Make that 7-2, Josh. Big run.
Another good piece of hitting from the Ohio offense. And the situations they've cashed in on, like, you know, I just mentioned 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Now they're 4 for 9, and they're 3 for 7 with 2 outs. I mean, they've been very impressive hitting in crucial situations.
And now Trent Newer has the chance to continue this good inning. Josh, this Bobcat offense got going in the bottom half of 2, and they haven't looked back since. They've put up at least 1 run since then.
Absolutely, and they really, other than the Blake Reed double, they really haven't hit the ball very far, per se. Like, they haven't hit it over guys' heads, but they've done a really good job of just making good contact.
Yeah.
And, they've moved guys around on the base paths. It's been a really impressive performance from the Ohio lineup.
So it's been a lot of that small ball. We talked about that so much. This one kind of check swing by Trent Newer, but the ball was put in play for a 1-3 ground out. However, the Bobcats do add 1 more, make it 7-2 after 5. VMI due up when we come back. Top half of the 6th inning, it's 5-6-7 led off by Boston Torres for VMI. Kylie Osco joins us now. Kylie, from down there, you can tell how vocal this Bobcat team is.
Oh, very. Anywhere you go in Bob Wren, you will be able to hear the Bobcats from the east side to the west side, and the north side to the south side. No matter where you are, you just hear their voices from the dugout. Also, the parents are super vocal, and this is something that wasn't very prominent last season. However, VMI started off very vocal. They were super excited to get into this game. However, since the 3rd inning, they've quieted down. They did pick back up when they scored that home run. However, things are just super low right now for them, and you can definitely tell because you just can't hear them. Same thing with the parents. You hear a couple parents yelling at the team, like, hey, get your head in the game, like, let's get this together, let's score a couple runs. However, they really just aren't able to do what needs to be done, and I think the vocality has something to do with that because they don't have that support. However, the Bobcats, they are keeping it up. The spirits are high. You can definitely tell Gasky's performance. If he's not throwing super well, he has his team rallying around him.
So that's such a big thing. Boston Torres diving play by Cassie trying to get that one. Big hook right there from Boston Torres. He was thinking about it too. But as Kylie said, that communication and having that support of your teammates and fans, it's absolutely huge, Josh, and that'll go a long way in this game.
Oh, absolutely, Gavin. It just goes a big way in just pumping your team up, pumping the next guy up at bat and, making sure he's locked in and ready. Being vocal leaders is important in baseball. Absolutely, I agree 100%.
See, Boston Torres reached on that hard hit single. That'll now bring up, though, James Newsom. He is the guy who's responsible for the only VMI key that runs, and that came in the top half of the 4th inning.
I think we just heard some Keydet parents boo that strike call. So.
See, it'll definitely be a fun end to this game. Absolutely. But Blake Gasky, again, doing what he's done all game so far, getting ahead of guys early and often. 0-2 count. Now to James Newsom. Swings that one's off the mask of Jackson Cawthorn. I don't even think that he's fazed by that, Josh.
No. As a catcher myself, I used to always hate when that happened. Because my ears would ring for the next 5 minutes.
Absolutely. But now it's still 0-2.
Especially with how cold it is out
there. Oh, yeah. Say low 40s. We'll probably get down to the low 30s by the end of this game. Got 1 or 2, Josh. Now with it getting cooler, and of course night game, so it's going to get cooler as the game goes on. How much that the weather and the coolness might affect? Of course, we always say when it's cold, the ball doesn't fly as much as if it's a warm June or July day.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
looks like it's flying for...
I was going to say, James Newsom wants a second homer.
No matter how cold it is, it looks like the ball's flying off of Newsom's bat.
So again, Newsom 6'7" in the box, so a very tall presence on that left-handed side. Decent lead for Boston Torres over at first base. Just a bit inside 2-2.
Another good miss for Gasky. I feel like we say that a lot in two-strike counts where he's just missed on a couple pitches.
So James Newsom, he's a guy that athletics run in his family. His dad played football at NC State, and his mom played basketball at NC State. So definitely cool to see that.
I'd be surprised if James did play basketball in high school
I was
either.
going to say, he would absolutely have to have had played basketball. I mean, you're 6'7", physical dude down there. He can definitely play in the paint for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So here's that 2-2 to James Newsom. Swings, and we'll do it over again. Good at bat, though, from Newsom, making Gasky throw a lot of pitches.
I think this is going to put Gasky upwards of 90 pitches after this.
Yeah, say he's got to be getting close. Say no bullpen action for Ohio. No one down there throwing. So as of right now, he's still going to keep on going, and why not? Just a bit outside. Good take, though, from James Newsom. Way to battle back, too.
And, you have to imagine if you're Coach Morris, well, you full trust in Gasky and the senior and what he's done so far. So I wonder if that also plays into why there's nobody going in the pen as well. It's getting loud here.
Off goes the runner. Ball 4. Great at-bat right there from James Newsom. He earned that walk, Josh.
Absolutely. That's something we talked about earlier. Is Gasky's not giving these walks out for free with just how good plate discipline, that the Keydads have. I mean, they are earning every walk they're getting. And they haven't gotten very many of them.
Oh, yeah.
But when they do get them, they always come with 2 strikes. And they are making Gasky throw pitches right now, especially after that at-bat. 2 great at-bats for James Newsom. One went out of the park. The other one, though, could be big in getting Gasky out of this game. 91 pitches. That was a 9-pitch at-bat.
Yeah. Fantastic at-bat and a good result, too, from James Newsom. And now, Josh, this whole top half of the 6th inning completely changes. No guys out and 2 on. That changes it so much.
Absolutely. Now you wonder, is this a small ball scenario? We've seen VMI bunt in this exact same situation earlier. 2 guys on, first and second, nobody out. So you have to wonder if the bunt's in play here. That's probably why Ohio called their defensive guys together and figured out a game plan. It looks like we're getting communication from the dugout here as well.
Yeah, say honestly, Josh, with as much as this team steals, I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see if they try double steal here, as well as both corners, first and third, are playing in quite a lot. I'm assuming that they're anticipating that bunt.
Middle's going to try and spin a double play.
There is that bunt, gets it down, but it will go foul. So the defense, corners are in, they're ready for that bunt. Of course, you take a sack bunt in this situation, 100%.
Absolutely. Worked out for Ohio earlier when they were able to get their sack bunt down. Scored, I believe, 2 runs off of it.
Yeah. Say, the VMI, if they can score 2, again, they have both guys on, no down. If they can at least bring in both of those guys. That's not the bunt that they want, though. Jackson Cawthron catches that one. Ryan Peterson got it all wrong in the end. Josh, that's a big out, number 1. And
absolutely.
Still guys on first and second.
And I think Gasky knew, as soon as Gasky saw that bunt come around, I think he knew on that second pitch what he wanted to throw. It looked like he went with the high fastball right there, and that's a tough pitch to bunt on.
Yeah. Good
pitch from Gasky.
I say now that changes the game plan of this inning completely for VMI. And Schnars will be the guy up, and Josh, now it's 1 down. Still two guys on, but compare that, you had no outs, now there's 1 down.
I don't think the bunt's still completely out of question here, though.
Good off speed right there. There's that slider again from Blake Gasky.
I think there's some movement in the Ohio pen now.
Yeah, they do have an arm up and going, getting some pitches in there, warming up. This one's going to be a tough play. Will it be in there for a base hit? No, it won't. Yes, it will. It did get down, Ben Slanker made a sliding attempt at it, but couldn't get to it. 4 Bobcats enclosed on that one. No one could actually come up and get
That's
it.
a tough play. That ball was in no man's land. That's a hit for sure. Slanger gave it a great effort, and he couldn't fully commit to the slide, though, because there were 4 guys around him. So it's a no man's land. But, again, like we mentioned earlier for Ohio, VMI now just making contact and making things happen based off of it.
And say, like you talked about, Josh, small ball, that can go a long way. So now it's Kazuya Jordan. Swings, puts a hammer into this one. Deep center field, that's going to at least score 1 for sure. And it will sack fly. No one else advances 90 feet, but that's a sack fly regardless. And Josh, now it's 7-3.
Yeah, good at-bat from Jordan. Smart base running from Newsom on second as well. It looked like he was going to go originally, and then the throw from Mancino came to third, which was a smart play from Mancino as well. So good heads-up baseball from everyone in that situation.
Kazuya Jordan with the sack fly and the RBI. It's a big job, too, also, Josh, because, we're top half of the 6th inning. You only have 7, 8, 9 after this.
I'm a little surprised as well that Ohio didn't just throw to third just to see if he
Right,
left early.
right.
I don't think he did at all, but
Just in case.
just in case, yeah. Some teams do like to do that.
I'm saying now there is still the chance of VMI getting maybe more than just 1 run back in this inning. They have the chance to grab more. Off go both runners. And did he get underneath the tag? No, he didn't. James Newsom is caught stealing to end the inning. You never want to try and make the last out of the inning at third base. Well, that's what happened in that situation. The double steal was on. But that will put an end to the top half of 6. VMI does get back 1, but they could have had more. 7-3 our score. Bobcats 2 up when we come back. Win 3 due up for Ohio.
Gavin, something we noticed going into break last inning was just how fired up Caskey
Yeah,
was.
very much
He
so.
was fired up when the 5th ended. And then it looked like him and Newsom were jawing at each other because Newsom got thrown out trying to steal third, and it looked like those two had a few words. And umpire had to step in.
Yeah. And see, that's something too, Josh, that when we went to break, I brought up the fact that, you never want to make the third out at third base.
No.
And honestly, I was surprised that he took off. I mean, he did get a good lead, but he was out by a couple of feet, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you live or die by the stolen base in that instance. They haven't, I don't really think they've tried to.
No, see,
steal
honestly,
a
I think
lot.
that was their first. I think first attempt all ball game,
Yeah.
right? At least that I can think of. And say maybe the steal was on in that situation, and if so, is it the right call? You do have 2 outs, yeah, but you got a guy in scoring position, guy in first base as
There
well.
was also 2 strikes, so
Right,
I
right.
can understand it from the point of being aggressive
Right.
in the moment. Trying to make things happen with 2 strikes. I understand that.
And so we'll see if that does come back to possibly bite them. They could have. They did bring back 1, but they could have possibly had more though. But still, again, 7-2 and 7-3 are much different ball games. 7-3 now. Did he go? No, he did not. Good hold right there from Matt Einich to make it, after being down 0-2, make it 3-2. Good piece of hitting right there from Matt Einich. And he is now 3 for 3 with the walk in there too.
What a day at the plate for Heinich. We knew how good of a hitter he was, and he's had another great performance today.
So he came into the ball game batting .407. Well, he's way above that now, Josh. So that'll bring up now Ben Slanker. He hasn't done what he usually does today. He's 0 for 3, double play ball as well. But still, all it takes is 1 pitch for him to send 1 yard or put 1 into the gap.
I was just about to say it can all change with 1 swing of the bat.
Pickoff attempt, but no doing. Again, you always have to keep an eye. Really, Josh, 1 through 3 of this Bobcats lineup, Matt Einich, Ben Slanker, Paulie Mancino, all 3 of those guys have got really good speed.
Absolutely.
And off goes Matt Einich. Good jump. Took a hop in there, the throw did, but that's an easy stolen base for Matt Einich.
Now with a lefty up as well, I think it was a perfectly timed stolen base because now Slanker, more than likely to hit the ball to the right side as a left-handed hitter. So good attempt to steal on that pitch now. Whereas Slanker, if he hits a hard ground ball to the right side, it gets Einich to third, but I guess Einich is going to get to third like that.
I was going to say, and just like that, again, that's what playing here at Bob Wren does. That backstop is so huge that pitchers and catchers, they must be aware of that at all times.
Absolutely, and that was a tough block for Peterson. It's very tough, the slide block.
Very much so.
It's easier on turf than it would be dirt, but that's a tough block.
And say, again, like, this is turf, yes, but like you said, that's going to be a tough block no matter what. And say, now the infield's playing in, no down, guy on third. You would assume that Matt Einich would be able to score, but you never know.
Like you said earlier, though, Gavin, Slanker leads the MAC in sack flies, so that's something he's good at.
And say, he'd absolutely take that. That'd be a very productive out. But he won't have to worry about that because Matt Einich can score standing. He actually jogged into home plate right there. He had so much time to come across and score.
I guess was that ball 4 for Slanker?
I believe it was. I thought it was 2-2, but I guess
I thought it was 2-2 as well.
Guess it was 3-2.
Center fielder number 3, Paulie Mancino.
So that'll bring up Paulie Mancino after that walk issue to Ben Slanker, his first time on base today.
I think they're checking the count. I don't.
I was gonna say I thought it was 2-2.
I thought it was 2, but I could be wrong.
Right.
I probably am wrong.
Yeah, I probably am too, but that the umpires are here, we'll see. And
yes,
Josh, I actually believe that we
were right.
We were right for the first time. We were right. So it was 2-2. All right.
There goes Coach Moore now.
Yeah.
Oh, he's wondering what happened.
You can say I thought it was 2-2. As of now, it was 2-2. But still, regardless, the run does score.
Yes.
Because it was a pass ball and Einich was in there easily. So I believe now it should be 3-2.
Okay, yeah. Umpire just held up 3-2.
Okay,
so
so
we're good.
okay, so it is now now it's 3-2. It was 2-2, now 3-2. Confusion. We're back. Ben Slinker kind of half swung at that.
He hit it hard.
I was
though.
gonna say he put it hard down that third base line. I kind of wonder if he full swung on that. You never know. He puts a charge into this one very high into the air. 3 guys going in on to make the play for VMI. It's Prince out there in center field for out number 1.
Now, batting for the Bobcats, center fielder number 3.
So now he'll bring up Paulie Mancino.
I had to hear his walk-up song twice there.
Yep, absolutely. Why not? Mancino got the Nicki Minaj walk-up song going. Certainly has got him going. He's 2 for 2 with a walk so far. Run scored as well. Very productive night for Mancino so far.
You know, when we talked to Coach Roberts, something I found interesting was he mentioned how Einich and Slanker both walk more than than they strike out, and how he knew that was one of the signs of a good hitter. You know, Coach Roberts is a guy who played for the A's, had a legendary career as a cadet, and you know, was wondering his perspective on that and how he handled facing 2 really good hitters. And one thing he pointed out was how both of those guys walk more than they strike out.
And so that's really what makes a good hitter. If you can walk more than you strike out, that's always a good thing. And throw in, you know, guys like Matt Einich, who was coming into this game batting .407. You throw in an amazing batting average too. That's just gonna make it even better.
Absolutely. You know, something interesting too for VMI is a lot of their guys are the same.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Say a lot less walks or more walks than strikeouts. Speaking of strikeouts, Mancino goes down swinging. But again, like we were talking about, Josh, I mean, this is a team that they walk a lot more than they strike out. They also get on base a lot more too, whether it's walks, getting on by errors, or just straight up base hits. So that is the second strikeout for Justin Spiegel after he came in for relief of Evan Palmer. Pumps in strike 1 to Trey Cassidy. This one hit out in the center field. It's going to possibly get over the head of Prince, and it does. At least a double for Trey Cassidy, and he does indeed have a stand-up double. So a 2-out double, Josh. This inning's not over just yet.
Absolutely. You know, one thing that was just been kind of forgotten was how Trey Cassidy ended the 4th. He roped the ball to right field, and, you know, he just roped another baseball right there. You know, even though Cassidy is 1 for 4, he's hit the ball hard a couple of times in this game.
Yeah. Now bring up Nick Dolan. 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, but a base hit and a run scored as well in this game.
The only Bobcat hitter without a hit today is Slanker now.
Yeah. And say when you can get that type of offensive production, that's so much. I mean, we talked about the confidence. That's going to give you confidence throughout this 3-game series.
Absolutely. Momentum.
Yeah.
You know,
Huge.
we've talked about it a lot today.
It's huge, yeah. Especially in a sport like baseball where it can change so fast. Momentum and having that confidence. You can have it one half inning, then you completely lose it the next half inning. It's so back and forth. Great pitch right there from Justin Spiegel in the outside corner. 1-2. And the 1-2 from Spiegel, just a bit inside. 2-2. Good take right there from Nick Dolan. So there are 2 down, but there's still that guy in scoring position after that Trey Cassidy double. Got him looking. Great pitch right there from Justin Spiegel, painting the outside corner. Got Nick Dolan to go down and looking. That's his 3rd strikeout of the ball game. Still in favor of the Bobcats on the scoreboard after they put up another one, make it 8-3 Bobcats. VMI do up when we come back.
Favor of Ohio. And then the Bobcats, 1 run on 2 hits. No errors, 1 man left on base.
New pitcher into the game for the Ohio Bobcats. It's Ethan Stewart. He's 6'1" sophomore out of Langsville, Ohio. Graduate of MEGS. Member of the TVC Ohio Conference. Josh, we know a thing or two about TVC.
Yeah, we do. We know a thing or two. We called Ethan Stewart over the summer a local legend,
Yeah,
right? I
yep.
think that's what we deemed him when he was a Copperhead.
The local legend.
You know, Coach Moore kind of spoke about his past few outings. You know, Stewart had a good outing against NIU in the final game of 3-game, 2 2/3, giving up 1 earned run, and then had another good outing against Marshall. And he talked about how Ethan had a good outing against NIU and then had another good outing against Marshall. And it's good to see a couple of the younger guys, him and Julia Robertson, both pitched, you know, have a couple good outings and build some confidence in both of those guys, especially since the bullpen has been shaky at times this year, but they're getting contributions from some of their younger guys now.
Let's say Stewart, I mean, he's got one of the lowest ERAs on this team. He's got a 2.70 ERA. Walks to strikeout ratio, it's about the same, 6 walks, 5 Ks. But again, like you talked about, when it's not been the most consistent year for the bullpen, you have guys like Ethan Stewart, who, like you also mentioned, younger guys, but they're really starting to step up, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Stewart and, you know, another guy that we just mentioned, Julian Robertson, he has all the tools to be really good. And a couple younger guys in the bullpen as well. Hunter Winston, just a freshman, thrown 14 innings this year. Luke Bryant has been key in situations this year with, you know, 7 innings pitched. And you're having to rely on a couple different guys. And the one thing that really kind of struck me this year with the Ohio pitching staff is that they've almost had everyone pitch this year.
Yeah.
You know, they've thrown 12, 13 guys in the bullpen and starting wise. So, you know, being able to rely on almost every arm that's in that bullpen is, you know, it's crucial.
Very much so. So you want to really have that confidence that whoever you throw out there can get you the innings and get you what you need.
Tyler Peck's another guy. He's
Yeah.
a senior. Threw against Marshall as well, you know, using 5 guys in the pen against Marshall.
Yeah.
You know, when Marshall on the flip side they had a true bullpen game. They threw 9 guys in that game, maybe even more.
So a walk issued to Bradley Garner. Again, we talked about it so much, Josh, but VMI gets one guy on. That's all that their offense needs to get going.
Absolutely. We saw it earlier with the Newsom home
Yeah.
run.
And so now it's top half of the 7th inning. You're down 8-3, but again, this is a team, Josh, that coming into this game has scored 369 runs. They lead the nation in runs scored. So a 5-run lead, or a 5-run deficit, I should say, excuse me, that doesn't faze them too much.
Absolutely. Hasn't really phased them at all this
No,
year at
no,
times.
not at all. And say they're coming off of a game, too, that they won against Radford on Wednesday.
11-5.
Yeah. So again, they know how to put up runs. As we have a timeout called, and the pitching coach comes out to just chat with Ethan Stewart. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Josh, I mean, you put up 11 runs on Wednesday. Yeah, they've only put up 3 here so far. But again, when you lead the nation in runs, you're doing a lot of stuff right.
Absolutely.
I'll say this is to a situation, Josh, that you're at the top of their lineup. You just want to go out there and talk to your sophomore guy on the mound. He got some experience last year, got some experience over the summer with the Copperheads as well. And he's made quite a few appearances this year, but just go out there, talk to him, settle him down, and say, hey, you've got a 5-run lead. You're okay. Take a breath. You're all good.
Yeah, right decision at that point in time. I also wonder, since they came out a little bit earlier to Stewart, maybe if there was something mechanically wrong as well. Maybe
Right.
he was releasing too high or something like that.
There's a strike, good. Fastball pumped in there. Bunt shown by Grayson Fitzwater, but pulled back for
I was
strike 1.
wondering if we were going to see Garner take off there.
Honestly, kind of surprised that we didn't see him take off there. It seemed like a good pitch.
20 bag swipe for him this year. We almost got caught leaning right there.
So he got back just in time, like you mentioned. And see, again, with a lot of these guys in this VMI lineup batting over 300, you can't take one batter off because that one batter can absolutely come back and burn you.
Absolutely, especially with this part of the order with Fitzwater, Riley, and Torres back to back to back. It's a tough part of their lineup to face, and especially, even today, Newsom. You do not want to face Newsom right now, who's hitting 6th for VMI.
And say again, like we talked about before, if you can get guys on for Boston Torres. Again, Boston Torres, he leads the country in RBIs with 57. If you can get guys on for a guy like Boston Torres, that's exactly, especially in the top half of the 7th inning, that's what you want.
And Fitzwater's having a good at-bat right now. Again, 3-2, we talk about earning your walks. Here's another situation where Fitzwater can earn his walk.
So here's that 3-2, runner goes. They're going to be able to get Fitzwater. Steps on the bag for 1, Trey Cassidy did, but they couldn't get 2. And I would imagine, Josh, even if right there that Garner didn't take off for second, there was probably no chance at 2 still.
Yeah, it was a big out to get, though, for Stewart. Good pitch. That's one of those pitches where if you get a walk, you can feel the energy kind of pick back up on the Keydette side. So good pitch from Stewart. Good job of getting it out right there.
Good block right there from Jackson Cawthorn behind the dish. Cole Riley is the guy. He hasn't gotten a base knock yet, but he has gotten on base via a walk that came back in the 2nd inning. And since then, he's grounded out twice. Good off speed in there from Ethan Stewart. He's got that curveball, Josh. It just seems to just drop in there.
Yeah, and I think at first it looks like his fastball because he doesn't change his release point for either of those pitches, and it just drops in at the last second.
Down low, 2-1.
It was low with the release point of the fastball
Yeah.
there.
And say again, yes, you do have first base open, but again, with a guy like Boston Torres on deck, you don't want to try and allow too many guys on base for the guy who leads the nation in runs batted in.
Something so interesting about the Keydets team too is they get aggressive leads.
Very much
You
so.
know, I think that's part of the reason why they steal so many bases, even though they haven't tried it a lot today. I mean, if you look at Garner right now, he's 3.5, maybe even 4 steps off second base.
Hit over to Matt Einich. Comes up with a cleanly good throw. That's a 6-4 ground at 2. Retire Cole Riley. That'll put an end to the top half of the 7th inning. So they do strand Bradley Garner in scoring position, but the Bobcats still hold the lead. It's 8-3. Bottom half of the 7th inning here at Bob Brenly. The sun officially is down. The lights are out. Gwen Stefani is on with some Akon. Sweet Escape. Takes us back to the good old summer days of Southern Ohio Copperheads baseball. That one does, Josh.
The song of the summer, Gavin, for us too.
It was. It absolutely was. It was the walk-up song of Alex Unger, as well as Director of Media Relations Josh Beach. His favorite song to play during the summer. Heard that quite a few times from him whenever he was on the Ox. But it's okay because it's a great song.
Absolutely.
You know? This one's going to be a tough play. Maybe if it didn't stay up in the air so long. Boston Torres camps under at 4. Out number 1 off the bat of Jackson Cawthron.
Spiegel's done a really nice job in relief. He's working on his 4th inning pitch, so 3 1/3 so far for him. 2 earned, 4 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. But he's really done a nice job, and I kind of expect him to maybe close this game out. Just if you don't have to throw another guy in the bottom of the 9th, maybe Spiegel is able to close it. He's done a really nice job in this game so far.
Good off speed in there too from Spiegel to get ahead of Blake Reed. Foul that one off 0-2. I know, Josh, we've been talking about the Copperheads. Well, the brother of Blake Reed, Braden Reed, 2 summers ago was a Copperhead. I know I've mentioned it a couple times, but it's always fun to mention that.
You and I might mention it 100 times
Yeah.
if we didn't keep track of how many times we were.
We probably have. So again, baseball runs in the family of the Reeds. Say Braden plays at Ohio Dominican.
A lot of OU guys played for the Copperheads this summer
Yeah.
as well. There's like Ethan Stewart, who's just
Yep.
finished his inning of work right there. Julian Robertson, another guy we mentioned earlier.
Mancino as well.
No, Newer.
Yep.
Dolan.
Quite a few Copperheads. I would say it makes sense too. Say staying where you play your collegiate ball play. Summer ball, you get a summer in Athens. Nothing beats it. This one popped up just on the edge of the infield, and Garner makes it for out number 2. So that'll now bring up Cam Bryant. He had an RBI single in his last at-bat that came in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Josh likes the walk-up song there.
Big Little Uzi fan.
Oh, of course. Just an artist that gets people going. You know, he's got the music, he's got the beats, he's got the lyrics. And especially as a walk-up song. It just gets people going, you know?
Agreed. No arguments here.
No arguments need to be made. It's a good job, too, of Justin Spiegel by going so far pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't even really felt like he's been in for 4 innings, but, you know.
Not at all.
He's 3 2/3 so far.
And see, he's working quickly here through this bottom half of 7. But might walk Cam Bryant 3-1.
Bryant's done a really good job, too, stepping in. You know, usually Ohio, if J.R. Nelson was healthy, we're waiting for a report back on him. But as...
See, this one's skied out, carrying pretty far, almost to the warning track. Off the bat of Cam Bryant, that one just kept going and going and going.
But as I was saying, I wonder if Bryant regularly gets time in the lineup. He's really stepped in and done a really good job as J.R. Nelson's been out.
So a 1-2-3 inning for Justin Spiegel, and VMI will get their at-bats when we come back. New pitcher into the game for the Ohio Bobcats. It's the senior southpaw, Adam Beery. The 6-foot-tall man out of Ravenna, Ohio, graduate of Rootstown High School. Comes in with an 11.45 ERA through 11 innings of work. 15 runs allowed, 14 of them have been earned, 11 walks and 7 Ks in 12 appearances.
And he gets to face 3 lefties in a row as
He
well.
does. So I would imagine that that's why he's brought in. That lefty-lefty action. It's always so difficult. But 2-0 to Boston Torres, and this is the point in the game, Josh. You're down to your last 6 outs. You would ideally like to get at least one back this inning.
Yeah, absolutely. If not more.
Yeah. Say 8-3 is our current score. You got to think, at least cut it in half. Give yourself a chance. But like you said, if you can get more back, you'd absolutely take that. So 3-0. There's that get me over fastball from Adam Beery. Makes it 3-1. I think that was take all the way right there for Boston Torres.
Although I don't know, Torres might be a guy that has the green light.
Yes,
tough to give that guy the red light.
Absolutely. But he does draw the 5-pitch walk, though. So to open up the top half of 8, Boston Torres is on first base. And again, something else that VMI leads in the nation is walk strong. They came into this game with 254 walks as a team. Well, they've already added to that quite a few times this game.
Absolutely. 6 walks so far, I believe I have them at. Counting them up.
6, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, 6. There we go. So again, another lefty on the lefty. This time, James Newsom. Well, he's already made some damage. That 2-run homer that came back in the 4th inning. He's going to rope this one into right field. That's going to be trouble. He's going to have 1. He's going to take the turn, not go to 2. But the important thing, yes, he is going to go to 2, actually. Stopped and got it in. Throw in from Ben Slanker is kind of a wild one. And Josh, just like that, no guys out, 2 in scoring position.
Good piece of hitting from Newsom. Like we mentioned earlier, throw a lefty at him, throw a righty at him. Right now, it doesn't matter. Everything that has come off of his bat has been pretty much hit hard, and he's even hit a couple hard foul balls today. But a good piece of hitting. It looked like he was a little out in front of that pitch, but was still able to get enough of the barrel on it to drive to right field and get a base hit, or excuse me, double.
Yeah, so again, that walk proved to be huge because now there's a guy only 90 feet away from scoring. And that's going to be even more trouble. That's going to be a fair ball. At least 1 is in. Rounding third base is James Newsom. He's going to be in safely. And how about that 8-5 Ryan Peterson 2 RBI double? There you go.
Like we said, this offense can get hot at any time. Even though Ohio had the matchup advantage, they had the lefty, 3 lefties in a row. Good pieces of hitting lefty on lefty for VMI. Another arm going in the Ohio pen right now as well.
What we were double checking. I wonder, is Adam Beery going to get pulled here? How short is that leash that he has?
Yep.
I believe he is, yeah. So he comes in and only faces 3 batters. However, VMI does a lot in those 3. 8-5 is our score. We'll go ahead and take a quick break. New pitcher for the Bobcats when we come back. So the new pitcher on the mound for the Bobcats, number 36, Jack Geyser. 6'2" sophomore out of Medina, Ohio. 1-1 record, 6.75 ERA through 14.2 innings of work. 3 walks, 9 strikeouts, and 10 appearances. So, Josh, a very good walk to strikeout ratio.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one of those younger guys that's had to step up this year. Only a sophomore is Geyser, but he did struggle in his last down against NIU, giving up 4 runs and 1 1/3 pitch. So we'll see if we can bounce back from that. He's in a tough spot right now.
Very tough. Aiden Schnars will be the first guy to welcome him. Schnars does have a base knock that came in his last at-bat in the 6th inning. Good fastball from Geyser in there for strike 1. So Peterson's on at second. And they've already brought back 2 runs so far in this top half of the 8th inning. And they're not looking to stop anytime soon, Josh.
Oh, it doesn't look like it. Especially with a runner on second, nobody out. You can still do plenty of damage in this inning.
And there's going to be some more damage, possibly. At least it will advance the runner. Good pick right over there at first base by Trey Cassidy. That was a play that had to be made after that throw.
Yeah, something that's gone unnoticed so far is how well Trey Cassidy's been defensively. There was a ground ball to Nick Dolan that ended an inning that VMI could have done more damage on, but Trey Cassidy scooped it up, and right there, that could have been another situation where if Cassidy doesn't scoop that, VMI could creep back even closer. So good play from Trey Cassidy.
Kazuya Jordan is now the guy in. He doesn't have a base knock, but he does have a sac fly in this game, so he's been a part of helping VMI get back into this game, and he has the chance to do that even more. He's down 0-2, however, another run is only 90 feet away with 1 down. And a swing and a miss. He got a little piece of it, but held on, though, by Jackson Cawthorn. That's a big out number 2, Josh.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, center fielder number 2, Owen Prince.
However, it does bring up Owen Prince. He doesn't have a base knock yet, but he did come in with a 386 average, so you almost feel like, Josh, he's a guy that feels he's due for a hit at some point in time today. And will it come right here? Good play over there at second. And Cam Bryant, how do you do? Great play. Got him. That is a big, big timeout. 4-3 ground out to end the top half of the 8th inning. However, VMI does pull 2 back. It's 8-5. Don't go anywhere. Bobcats do up when we come back. On half of the 8th inning here at Bob Wren. 8-5 is our score. 3-run ball game. VMI pulled back 2 in the top half of the 8th. But again, Josh, this game isn't over yet.
Not at all.
So Trenton Newer will go ahead and lead off the bottom half of the 8th inning. Bobcats are, of course, hoping that this is their last time coming up in this ball game. We'll have to wait and see. Again, anything can happen in collegiate baseball. Swung on and fouled pretty far down the first base line, but a quick 0-2 to Trenton Newer.
Newer's improvement from this season to last year has been awesome. He's hit 182 last year, and it's up to 276 last year coming into today.
And he's going to get on base after that drop third strike right there. Went all the way to the backstop.
I'm surprised he didn't get a piece of that.
Yeah. He swung, but came up empty, though. So that brings up Matt Einich. Again, talking about a guy having a ball game 3 for 3 with a walk. Has the chance to go 4 for 4. Shows bunt, pulls back, ball 1.
Spiegel's still going strong as well.
Yeah. And I'll say that might be the key for VMI right now, especially because this is game 1. You got game tomorrow, got game 3 on Sunday. Bunt shown, gotten down by Matt Einich, kind of poked at it and poked a foul. Shows bunt again, gets it down. Great bunt on that first base line. Gonna be a tough play, but they do get Matt Einich. However, that does advance Trenton Newer over second base.
I find it a little surprising, though, that you have Einich bunt with the day he's had. I don't know.
So too.
Guy's 3 for 3.
Right.
I'm letting him swing,
Yeah.
right? You know, I understand that's an obvious
Right.
bunt situation, but
And say, especially with a guy like Ben Slanker up too, I'd say you would want your guys to swing freely. Try, and again, I do understand it, like you talked about. Yes, you do sacrifice the out, but you do get Trenton Newer in the scoring position. Now a base hit arguably does score him. A double or any extra base hit absolutely does. But again, you do sacrifice a guy like Matt Einich, who is 3 for 3 with the walk, and just came around the score, has got 2 RBIs. He's been having a great night.
absolutely. It's a tough call.
It is.
So
yeah.
we'll see if it pays off, but
So if it does, then that's absolutely what you want. Down, taken high and away for ball 1 to Ben Slanker. Again, Ben Slanker, he's also a guy that feels he's due for a hit. 0 for 4 is his line tonight. And what a time to get it after you give up 2 runs in the top half of the 8th inning. You can come back and at least get 1 back, and maybe even more with a big fly. Swings and grounds this one foul, so we'll do it over this time 1-2. There's a 1-2 to Ben Slanker. Strike 3 called. Great slider right there from Justin Spiegel. That off speed right there, Josh, completely fooled Ben Slanker.
really good pitch. Looked like a slider
Yeah,
from Spiegel there.
Looked like it. From up here, at least. It had definitely had the break of one, and that's a big out number 2.
It is.
But again, now it brings up Paulie Mancino. He's 2 for 3 with a walk on his line so far. A strikeout and a run scored as well. So a guy who's also had another productive night. Just a little bit outside, 2-0. And Josh, you have to feel if VMI can hold the Bobcats to no runs this inning, keep it 8-5, the runs that they've scored throughout this season, they've got the chance to absolutely come back.
This game is still within reach for sure.
And said so far the theme of this year for Ohio has been that inconsistent bullpen. I mean, they've already had to go to their 4th pitcher on the night. So we'll have to see. VMI is one strike away from getting their bats back up. You know that they want to hit. This team is an offensive juggernaut, to put it lightly, within the nation. 2-2. Outside, good take from Paulie Mancino.
Spiegel now upwards of 90 pitches so far on
So,
his outing.
Yeah, so he's came in and he's 8 innings. You have to assume, Josh, that was the goal coming in.
Yep. And he's done that and more.
Good take on that slider. That was a pitcher's pitch if I've ever seen one. Great take from Paulie Mancino.
Bobcats first baseman number 2.
So now that'll bring up Trey Cassidy. He hit a double, roped it out in the center field his last at-bat. So he's the guy looking to continue his hitting ways, especially with a guy in scoring position. You want to try and cash at least one in, if not more, give you some more insurance. That would be the ideal situation in times called and when they have a meeting on the pitcher's mound. Would imagine it's just a little talking to, calm down, you know. Nothing too crazy. You're 3 strikes away, or a ground ball or a pop fly from getting out of this thing.
Doesn't look like... Looks like there's a couple guys up and throwing in the VMI bullpen as a ball comes on the field from the VMI bullpen. But, you know, it's just making sure your defensive alignment's correct here, you know. Maybe talking over about what pitches he might throw. Just a couple things going on. They're probably talking about a few different things, so just getting everything right and making sure you're not costing yourself in this scenario.
So again, like we talked about, you know, if you can get your guys back up, get your ups, and you're only down by 3 runs, like we said before, Josh, the way that this offense produces, 3 runs to them is nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, especially coming off of the 8th inning where they put up 2 quite easily. Unlucky they were to not get more. Big swing and a miss, good pitch in there from Spiegel. Took a good hack at it, did Trey Cassidy. I want to say he broke his bat or something with the bat or I believe he's getting more tar for it or something. I'm not quite sure. See,
It looked like he was pointing at something at first.
It seemed like he pointed to the barrel of the bat.
Oh, well, I was going to use this as a time scenario, too.
So 1-1, 2 down, but 2 on. Especially with a guy in scoring position. In the form of Trent Newer. He's a guy that's got wheels. So does Paulie Mancino. Late on that one was Trey Cassidy. We'll do it over a 1-2. Big pitch incoming. You can hear the fans and the dugouts getting into it. And here's the 1-2. Off speed outside. Good take from Trey Cassidy. Two down, 2 on. Spiegel delivers. Kind of poking at Trey Cassidy, going down the third base line. No one can get to it. That was going to be a tough play for anyone, regardless, Josh. That ball was hit so foul into foul territory, almost no one could really get there.
Yeah, good effort. Just kind of tailed at the end, and Cassidy stays alive. A good at-bat for him here.
Yeah, so making Spiegel throw pitches, you want to try and make him throw pitches until he throws that mistake pitch, or you can try and draw a walk as well. So we'll do the 2-2 over again. Swing, and this one will for sure be getting out of play down that third base line. Great at-bat, like you talked about, Josh, from Trey Cassidy right now.
Yeah, he's really had a couple good at-bats today. Hit the ball hard in the 4th, didn't get a hit out of it, but roped a double his last at-bat.
So 2-2 once again. And we'll do it over again. Great at bat right now from Cassidy. Making Spiegel throw him pitches. And that's the name of the game. Either try and force him to throw a ball, try and see if you can work the count, get that ball, or try and make him throw that mistake pitch. See, now he's only one ball away from a walk. This is a huge pitch here in this ball game. Both teams know it. 3-2, 2 down, 2-1. Both runners will be going on the pitch. 3-2, and we'll do it over again. Trey Cassidy just does not want to give up. And why would you?
What a battle. Spiegel now in the pitch count of 100. Cassidy fighting it off. It's a savvy battle right now.
So we'll see who comes out on top, Trey Cassidy or Justin Spiegel. 3-2, runners go. What an at bat from Trey Cassidy. Neither guy is going to give up easily.
The fans are in this one as well, from both sides.
Yeah. Say that's what you want. Get your crowd into it. Get your fans, both sides, into it. 3-2, runners go. Outside ball for what? And at bat from Trey Cassidy that was.
Now batting for the Bobcats, third baseman.
Spiegel's going to stay in as well.
Nick.
No, I mean, he's you got to think about it. I mean, he's only one pitch away from getting out of it, but he's also now one pitch away from possibly giving up one or two more runs.
It's a give or take situation here.
It is. Ball up high to Nick Dolan, and now Josh, especially with no bases open, you got to put him somewhere. You can't walk him, because then that walks in another run. Good pitch in there. Check swing by Nick Dolan. 1-1.
11 pitch at bat was the
Wow.
Spiegel and Cassidy. Yeah.
And what a battle that was between those two. But now it's about Nick Dolan. And Justin Spiegel is ahead. 1-2.
You could tell Dolan looked over the dugout and said, "My bad." He really wanted that pitch back.
You can tell he did. He kind of squatted after. He knew. But it's just a 1-2. Swung on a rope down to left field, but right at Boston Torres. Looked good off the bat. Great job right there from the VMI defense and Justin Spiegel of getting out of that. And now they have 3 tries to try and tie this ball game. 8-5 is our score. 3-run deficit. VMI due up when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Down to their last 3 outs are the VMI Cadets, but the team that's put up the most runs in the nation. 3 runs is nothing, Josh. Like we said, this is... Don't go anywhere. This game is certainly far from over.
Yeah, you knew Ohio had to play a full 9 innings in this game.
and say this is the part of the lineup that VMI certainly wants up. 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Keydets. Bradley Garner, Grayson Fitzwater, and Cole Riley. Fouls that one off. 0-2. However, Josh, you do look at 2, 3, and 4 in the Keydets lineup, and they haven't done too much. Only 2 hits between the 3 guys.
Yeah, it's been a relatively quiet day for those guys, but it's been a loud day for the 2 guys after them, and Boston Torres and Newsom. So I'm sure that's something that Geyser has in the back of his mind right now is, I got to get through Garner, Fitzwater, and Riley, and then hope that he doesn't have to face Torres or Newsom, because those 2 have done damage today.
Yeah, they have. And say it's about these guys getting on base first of all. That one's roped out into right field. Put some power behind that one. Did Bradley Garner well foul in the end, but he put some pop into that one, Josh.
Yeah, good at bat for Garner. He's fouled off a couple pitches.
Say Garner does have a hit. He's 1 for 3 with a walk. That hit came back in the 5th inning. So was ever time to get another one hits right now. Good hold right there from Garner. He thought about that one. You could tell he wanted it, but smartly held back.
That was close.
Very close. So I was actually surprised there wasn't an appeal down to first base. So it seemed to be that close. And the 2-2. Swung on. We'll do it again. Great at bat from Garner. Say we did see Trey Cassidy kind of do the same thing last inning. Well, now Garner's saying, hey, why not me too?
Yes. Good at bat.
And that will go foul. Honestly, probably a good thing that did go foul.
Good play from Cothran, too, to let it bounce.
So I believe that it sounded like it hit off of home plate first and then bounced foul.
It might have. Because as soon as it hits home plate, it's automatically a dead ball, correct?
Right, I believe so. So the 2-2 over again. Strike 3 called. Going down looking is Bradley Garner. That's not what VMI needs right now. So you would think at least in that situation go down swinging.
Yeah, absolutely. It's for as good of a hitter as Bradley Garner is, he can't be too happy with himself looking at that pitch right there. That was obviously a strike.
Yeah. Seemed to be an off speed, maybe that change up, but caught the bottom part of the strike zone. It's a big first out. Again, that brings up Grayson Fitzwater. Again, he does have 1 hit, but he's 1 for 4 with 2 Ks on the night so far for the junior right fielder. Good eye, just a bit outside. Quick 2-0 now to Grayson Fitzwater. Again, another lefty in this Keydet lineup. There's strike 1 pumped in there with that fastball from Jack Geyser. 2-1. Just a bit inside. Great take right there from Fitzwater. And Josh, you absolutely would take a walk right now in this situation.
That had to be a tough take for Fitzwater.
Very tough. Shows bunt, pulls back down. It's in there for a strike. Full count. Big pitch upcoming.
Boy, I find it hard to believe that Fitzwater would have the red light right there.
Yeah. And here's that 3-2 from Geyser. Just a bit outside, ball 4. Great take from Fitzwater. And again, Josh, we talked about it. These guys have been earning their walk so far.
Absolutely. 7 on the day. And most of them, like we've said for a lot of the previous ones, they've come with 2 strikes.
They have. And there was another one right there. So now it's Cole Riley Hasn't had a hit yet in this contest, but again, came into the ball game batting .331, well above 300. A guy who you absolutely cannot take lightly.
Gotta wonder again, is he due for one?
Yeah.
In this moment, you know?
See, is he due for that base knock? I'm sure he certainly feels so. And say it's not like he's gone down swinging. The 3 outs that he's had have all been ground outs. So at least you can say, well, I've put the ball in play. Now if I can put it where someone's not, that's going to be the big difference. And again, 1 hit right now would make a big difference.
Absolutely.
Any hit, any way on base, VMI will absolutely take it. Because also, Josh, you got to think if you can get one more guy on base, well, that's the game-tying run that steps up.
Yep.
We've already seen VMI go deep once. Well, they'll think, why not do it again?
Yeah, I mean, we just mentioned how 5 and 6 Boston Torres and Newsom have done some damage, and they're on deck and in the hole right now.
Say vice versa, the Bobcats will want to make sure that they keep guys off the base pads. They want to make sure that they don't even let VMI sniff that opportunity.
Absolutely. We've seen Fitzwater try and steal earlier.
Yeah.
Didn't work out, so I doubt they're going to send him here. He doesn't have a very aggressive lead either.
2-2. Swung on and missed. Blew the heater right by him. So Cole Riley goes down swinging. Now the Bobcats are 1 out away from picking up the Game 1 win. But, like we said, Josh, 5 and 6, Boston Torres and James Newsom for VMI. 2 very tough outs if they do get to James Newsom.
Absolutely. Got to take care of Torres first.
So he's a
if
very
you have to get to Newsom, obviously.
He's a very solid hitter. They just cannot catch up to that fastball right now that Jet Geiser's got. He's blown it by quite a few batters since he came out of the bullpen.
Geiser's going for a little 2-inning save right here.
Yeah, why not? Taken up high. 1-1. Good take from Boston Torres, up and in, 2-1. Fouls that one off, 2-2. VMI down to their last strike. But again, a ball put in play completely changes everything.
Gotta wonder if he goes back to the fastball here.
So it's been working for him so far. Why not try and go back to it? Absolutely. And 2-2 from Geiser. Swung on and missed. Yes, he did also go. They got a piece, but Jackson Cawthorn holds on.
Went back to the fastball, like we said.
He did, and in a big way, too, that high fastball. It's an 8-5 win for the Bobcats over a very good VMI team. Josh, what a ball game. What a ball game.
Absolutely. Really good back and forth game. It never felt like VMI was out of it. And, with an offense like that, it never is going to feel like they're out of it. But what a job out of the bullpen from Jack Geiser. Runner on second, nobody out. That guy doesn't come around to score. He finishes that inning. He works out of a little bit of a jam in his next inning. What a clutch pitching performance from Geiser. And you get a great start from Blake Gasky. You get a good performance from your relievers. It was a really good day for the Bobcats, and it's a really good start to an important 3-game series.
Very much so. So we talked about just how much the momentum and the confidence of this game will carry on into the Game 2 and Game 3 of this series tomorrow and Sunday. But again, like we said, Josh, I mean, Blake Gasky, what a start. And I think that start was what propelled Ohio to this win.
Yeah, absolutely. It started with Gasky on the mound. The lineup followed 14 hits, 8 runs. They produced big time today, and they did it really in spurts. There's that stretch when they scored 2 in the second, 3 in the third, and then 1 the following 3 innings that was able to get the job done for them, and it was a really good performance from both the lineup and the pitching staff today. We talked about consistency, and they got that today from both sides.
They certainly did, and because of that, well, they're going to go home, keep it here in Athens for the next 2 days, but they do take Game 1 8-5, a big win for the Ohio Bobcats. They now grab their 9th win on the season. Again, like we said, Josh, that'll be big for their momentum going into Game 2 and Game 3, and especially going back into action after this is done. Well, for myself, Gavin Carrick, my broadcast partner, Josh Herner, our field reporter, Kylie Osco, and our amazing production crew behind the cams making all of this possible today. Thank you so much for joining us and spending your Friday night with us. No better way than with some Friday night baseball. The Bobcats take down VMI 8-5 in Game 1. Game 2 is tomorrow. Game 3 is on Sunday. But for now, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your night.